Berry Hill got a disabled vehicle blocking the right lane. It's 440 eastbound, just past 65. Got a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder, 40 eastbound after Charlotte Avenue. And then an injury crash reported Hickory Hollow Parkway at Bell Road. They're just to the east of 24. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
How you guys doing?
Doing all right, Brother Murphy.
Anything going on? Anything going on in the news I need to know about?
Not that I know of.
I was at a long lunch. What's going on, friends? It's the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WT. I couldn't even get the joke out. Super Talk 99.7 WT. And my name's Matt Murphy. I'm here till 7 o'clock. Ken Weaver's back in the newsroom. News Closet B, we call it. He is not for a lack of headlines today, brother.
No, sir.
There's Chris Weber, who is fresh off a visit to the podcast studio. How was that for you?
Refreshing.
It was nice. I enjoyed it myself.
Yeah, makes me jealous. I mean, I wish we had all those goodies in here.
Let me tell you, I don't know that I could perform at the level that I try to keep it at during the radio show if we were in the podcast studio with those comfy chairs. Hey, Ken, have you been to the podcast studio?
I have not.
You need to get in. Well, I don't do it while you're on shift. But maybe before or after, get in there and sit down on one of those comfy sofas.
Okay.
Man, it's comfy.
I'll do it.
It is the comfiest room in the place.
You'd never make it through a 4-hour show. You'd fall asleep.
That's what I feel like.
Yeah.
I think that's correct.
Sink down into it.
And while we were in there, the world caught on fire, apparently. So, there you go.
Man, that was something.
I guess, as 97 or 7997 says on the super text line just moments ago, I guess we found our real 51st estate. It's Ukraine. Here's the thing. The late great Jim Croce taught me something about life when he said, "You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind. What's the one about Lone Ranger?
You don't pull the mask.
You don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Trump."
Exactly what he said.
That's exactly what he said. So earlier today, if you're just getting in your automobiles, maybe just turning on your radio, you've been out of pocket for a few hours, we're going to play you the entire 5-minute exchange coming up in just a moment because it is worth replaying. It's not every day that you can say that something happened that we've never seen before. And I think something happened today that we've never seen before. And I think it merits a little bit of a backstory. And I'm very, very, very curious your take on this. And we are opening the phones wide on it. I want your take on what you have seen, what you have heard, what your thoughts are, where you are on it, what it means going forward, and what it doesn't mean. But I'm going to lay down a little of the backstory, and we're going to give you my analysis of it and get yours as well at 615-737-9986. By the way, it's the Matt Murphy Show, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is Friday. It is the final day of February, the 28th. It is episode 760. Locks for Trump Day 363. Almost a full year with this long hair. And I was looking on some of the cameras in the podcast studios. We were doing some testing on some things. And boy, oh boy, it's high time I had a haircut. And that's coming up this Tuesday at Nashville Palace for our March 4th event. More on that in just a little bit. You can find us at 997WTN.com. You can find us on the radio at 99.7 FM. You can find us on any variety of apps. Just type in Supertalk 99.7 WTN, and boop, there you go. Whether if you're downloading music, if you're downloading news, if you're downloading information, you can download us as well. Our own app is up and available, and then there's Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Go join us. do me a favor. Hit the old thumbs up button when you do. If it's a thumbs up button or a like or a A-OK or whatever it might be, just hit that button, like and subscribe. And I have it on good authority from News Closet B what the cost of liking and subscribing is. Ken, what is the cost to like and subscribe us on Talk TV?
Absolutely nothing.
Well, there you go. Absolutely nothing, the man said. Now, if it were up to me, it would cost you something. But it's not up to me. And when it changes, Ken Weaver will let you know. So there you go. Those are the ways that you can listen and watch the platform today. Volodymyr Zelenskyy wanted Joe Biden and or Kamala Harris to win the election in November. About that, there is no question. Now, that is not a consideration necessarily when we're determining our foreign policy moving forward, but it is something that we need to know. It is something that you need to know when you come to an understanding about what happened earlier today. Zelenskyy, and by extension, one would suppose Ukraine. I don't know that the Ukrainian people necessarily wanted Joe Biden or Kamala Harris to win the election. I don't know that they would know who Joe Biden was if it hit them in the head. But Zelenskyy certainly did. Why? Because under the leadership of Joe Biden, and one would believe under the leadership of Kamala Harris, Ukraine had a virtually unlimited piggy bank with which to come, hat in hand, to hold his hand out, to beg more materials, to beg more munitions, to beg more money from the American people, and to receive it. As a matter of fact, I was looking at the flow chart earlier today, and it's not even close. The bilateral aid allocations to Ukraine, including refugee cost estimation across the total world, amounts to a hell of a lot of money. And the United States of America gives the most, and it's not even close. The United States of America gives about double the amount of the next institution. That would be Germany. The rest of the EU gives less than Germany. And then there's Poland, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Czech Republic, France, Spain. I mean, all of these are broken down. But outside of the United States of America, the rest of I think you could probably put, I'll take that back. You could definitely put, if you do not include refugee care in this estimate, you can put the rest of the civilized world together combined, and it does not match what the United States of America is giving to Ukraine. Germany, Poland, United Kingdom, Netherlands, Czech Republic, France, Spain, Denmark, Japan, Canada, Italy, Sweden, Norway, Belgium, Switzerland, Finland, Slovakia, and Romania. Put them all together, and it does not equate what the United States of America is giving in terms of military, financial, and humanitarian aid. That is according to the Kiel Institute for the World Economy as of February 29th, 2024. February 29th, 2024? No. I'm sorry. I'm looking at this wrong. This was 2025, January 2025. Pardon me. So the United States of America has given more than any other nation, and it's not even close. Our giving was contingent on nothing. Some of the European nations gave contingent on it being a loan or contingent on getting it back. Ours did not come with strings attached. However, there's a new sheriff in town in the form of our now president of the United States of America, Donald Trump, and he wants to change that. While he understands that the world is a better place when the world is at peace, he also understands that the United States of America has needs too, and we have given somewhere in the neighborhood of $200 to $350 billion with a B dollars in military aid, financial consideration, and humanitarian aid to Ukraine. And wouldn't it be nice if Ukraine repaid us in kind with an agreement to allow us to reap the benefit of rare earth minerals that are found in that country? That was what today was supposed to be about. It was supposed to be a resetting of relations. I believe that the expectation on the part of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance was simple. That Zelenskyy would come to this to a certain degree with his hat in his hand. And yes, come to this subservient to the United States of America, considering his position right now in the world, his position in terms of what his needs are, and our position in the world, and what our position is in terms of what our needs are. Is it a partnership? Sure. Is it an equal partnership? Of course it's not. And so after the election of November, where Zelenskyy clearly threw his lot in with the Democrats, and that's probably teeved off the president to a certain degree and the vice president to a certain degree, but that's okay. That can be water under the bridge as long as we seem to be at a table of understanding about where we move forward from here. Donald Trump has repeatedly said that his goal in all of this is to not make friends, and his goal in any of this is not necessarily to call names. His goal is to achieve what everybody around us seems to say they want but don't want very much, and that is peace. He wants to stop the killing. There are some that seem to believe that that's going to come with Russia withdrawing everything that they have done and moving out of every portion of the Ukrainian space that they have invaded over not just the last 3 years, but since at least 2014. You are not going to achieve total surrender with Russia until you beat Russia, and we have not done that. And I say we, I mean the fighting forces that are going up against them, to include military and financial and humanitarian aid from the United States of America and other nations as well. So we have two choices. Either we accept Russia at the table of negotiation along with, to a certain degree, Ukraine. Either we accept that these players have come to something of a stalemate, and in order to achieve peace, everyone has to walk away with something. And if everyone walks away with something, that means that everyone's going to walk away annoyed that others got something. Donald Trump seems to be the only person in Washington, D.C. Well, I take that back. There are other Republicans that get it. There are people in the administration that get it. I think Vance gets it. I think Hegseth gets it. I think others get it. When you have a negotiation where you're dealing with a stalemate and you don't have a clear and defined winner and a clear and defined loser, everybody's got to get something in order to feel good about walking away. So America's at the table. What does America want? And the answer to this question, according to my Democrat friends, quote unquote, seems to always be, well, we should want the destruction of Russia. I understand that Vladimir Putin's an evil guy. I understand that Vladimir Putin is a bad guy. I understand the Russians ought to expect better from their leadership. I understand all of those things. But the one thing that he is not, at least in terms of this war, is a loser yet. So if we come at this determined to send him home packing, then we better bring our military with us. Because we're at war. We have to then finish the job that the Ukrainians could not finish. Are you prepared to do that? Is Europe prepared to do that? Does Europe want to go to war with Russia? If that's our goal, if everyone agrees that our stated goal is to put Russia in their place and to push them back away and out of all of the territories that they have attempted to seize and give them nothing, that's fine. I'm willing to listen to that conversation. But in order to do that, you have to beat them. And in order to do that, you have to go to war with them. I thought we were trying to stop a war, not start one. So today, Volodymyr Zelenskyy came to the White House, and he did not have his hat in his hand. And he did not seem to be ready to be thankful for what the United States of America has offered him over the last 3 years As a matter of fact, he seemed a little obstinate, a little upset with the United States, and ready to share how upset he was. I'm going to play the clip for you in just a moment. I'm going to get to your telephone calls as well. I asked for them, and we have received them, and I appreciate that. I'm very curious what you think about today's events. But for those who missed it, it's 5 delicious minutes of back and forth. It's tense. It gets uncomfortable at times. At one point, Zelenskyy and J.D. Vance are getting into it. And at another point, Donald Trump takes over, and then it really gets spicy. We'll share it all with you in just a moment, 21 after the hour. Just getting underway. It's the Matt Murphy Show, Friday edition on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Grace Point Healthcare is not only affordable and convenient and comprehensive, they cut out all of the middlemen that seem to be in the room with you. You know, it used to be when you went to the doctor's office, you talked to, well, your doctor, your primary care physician. We used to call it the general practitioner, the GP. Now we call it a PCP. Well, nowadays it seems that there's a lot of folks in that room with you. Not just your doctor, your primary care physician, which I'm sure they are good people, but also your insurance company. They've got a rep there, and the pharmaceutical companies have a rep there. It's like all of these uninvited people are involved in the decision-making process. Not so at Grace Point Healthcare. They are a direct pay primary care provider for a reason. It means that all treatment decisions are made between you and your doctor, and then that's it. Now, you can consult family members or whomever you want to consult, but the doctor is interested in one thing, and that is your care, long-term solutions for the issues that you face. That's what it's all about. Their basic Smart Care plan is just $69 a month. That's going to cover any and all doctor visits you have to your physician in Franklin at Grace Point Healthcare, plus diagnostics and free basic labs. Ask them about that when you make the call to schedule an appointment today. By the way, they can get you in today or next day, oftentimes, even if you are a brand new patient. Grace Point Healthcare, a military veteran-owned practice. I love that as well. Give them a call, 599-6868. 599-6868. Grace Point Healthcare, located in the heart of Franklin.
President Trump says Ukraine President Zelenskyy can come back when he's ready for peace. Nashville has a first-of-its-kind transit safety liaison. We'll tell you about these stories and more at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, these kids around this facility wearing me out.
What are they doing, Brother Murphy?
I just got told I typed like an old man.
What, in all
you?
caps?
One finger at a time?
I use
2 fingers at a time? Oh, 4. Wow. I don't know how you do that.
yeah, I use 4, but I can't just do them like this. I got to have my other 2 hanging out. But they're just hanging out. They're not doing anything. They're just hanging out there with the other guys, doing no work. I do type like an old man. That's true. And I heard that, Ken Weaver.
What's that?
With a fork. Did you say with a fork? What did you say?
I didn't say that.
Oh, somebody said with a fork. That's how I eat my French fries.
I do too.
Don't want to get my hands dirty.
Well, I use a fork if I'm dipping them in mayonnaise.
Listen.
That's underrated.
I'm not trying to play this game of I've been to Europe too, if Chad Benson's listening, but but I've been to Europe too. And I learned about frites and mayo in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And it changed your life.
I thought my friend was nuts when we were kids because he used to do that, and I thought, you are nasty. And then I grew up and thought, he had it right.
He changed your life, especially. And I'm not a big ketchup guy on almost anything else, but if I've got some fries and some mayo and I throw a little bit of ketchup on there,
oh yeah,
so good. Especially if it's Chick-fil-A.
Well, and it's got to be mayo, not Miracle Whip.
No.
That's not.
Here, let me tell you, in Amsterdam, much like they taught us in Pulp Fiction, and I've experienced it with myself, they slather them in mayo, but they have flavored mayo, and it is so. Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious! I'm a little bit hungry. If anybody wants to bring us fries and mayo, we would accept. While we busily break down what happened earlier today in the White House, and it's crazy. And yes, I do type like an old man. Thank you very much. I did not pay attention in typing class. I thought it was stupid. I remember this like it was yesterday. It was 7th grade. We had typing class, and I thought it was dumb.
Home row. Get your hand on the home row.
Get it? Yeah, let's go get home. Get home, Matt. Got to go home. Shut up.
You want to know something sad?
How did I pass the class? I don't know. What's that, Ken?
One of my only 4 classes I had as a senior in high school was typing.
And
sounds like a good senior year.
How are you doing now?
Dude, it's the best class. It is the smartest thing I ever did, man, because it's the only thing I know how to do.
Oh, well, that's good for you. I wish I could. I wish I knew how to type. What home is I got it. Damn it. I don't even know where it is.
Index finger on F and J.
Yeah, that's right. F and J.
What?
Each index finger, one on F, one on J.
Okay, got it. And then. Okay, got it. Well, what is that? What this little pinky finger is just going to deal with that semicolon?
Yeah.
Okay,
that's its job.
Yeah, use the pinkies for all those little symbols.
I use the pinky to hold out while I'm sipping my tea.
Oh yes, sir.
Anyway, so we got a few things to tell you about regarding the White House. I know a lot of you want to talk about it. I will not be able to get into it now. We've got Ken Weaver's newscast, but in a moment we're going to play the full segment. It is about 5 minutes long, but it is worth every second of it. Obviously, there's a lot of worldwide reaction as to what happened. And all the media wants to talk about is, Russia loved it. Russia loved it. Nobody gives a crap if Russia loved it, you dunderheads.
Fiddlesticks.
The bottom line is simple. There's a new sheriff in town in charge of the United States of America, and we expect some level of respect in return for our money, at least. What we would like to do is negotiate a deal that benefits the United States of America. This is all about putting America first. And if y'all don't like that, we can go on home. We're not the cops of the world anymore. I mean, if y'all don't like America's attitude, Ukraine, you don't like America's attitude, Europe, whether it's Germany or France, wherever, if y'all don't like our attitude, we'll go on home. So we'll get to that in a moment and get to your telephone calls right after that. 31 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Looks like we're going to be about a level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather in about 4 days. In the meantime, enjoy today, at least the rest of it, and this weekend. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Here's a bit of that Oval Office meeting today between President Trump, Vice President Vance, and Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelenskyy.
I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States, and your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing.
Trump ended up asking Zelenskyy to leave without a mineral deal as part of negotiations to end the war with Russia. President Trump releasing a statement saying Zelenskyy can come back when he's ready for peace. Right now from the Vatican, Pope Francis suffering a setback in the form of a sudden worsening of his respiratory condition after having what is called a bronchospasm. Basically, he had a coughing attack after breathing in vomit. The Vatican says the Pope was put on non-invasive mechanical ventilation with a good response. Here in Nashville, a first-of-its-kind partnership between Metro Police and WeGo aimed at making the bus system safer. Nashville now has a transit safety liaison that could lead to a dedicated transit police unit. Here's Channel 4's Brandon Tierney.
The new transit funding is adding more officers here at the downtown WeGo station. And for the first time ever, mobile security officers across the entire WeGo system. There will be a major increase in the number of officers at the downtown bus station. And a new mobile patrol will ride on buses and check stops across Metro Nashville. The new partnership with Metro Police also looks to make passengers feel safer. And people we talked with are hopeful it'll have a big impact.
WeGo will use new data monitoring to determine where officers will focus each week and then add more staff during peak hours. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. West Nashville got a crash. Left lane on-ramp blocked. This is going to be 40 westbound from I-440. Disabled vehicle, right lane block, 440 eastbound after 65. Got a stalled vehicle blocking the left shoulder, 40 eastbound after Charlotte Avenue. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
A beautiful Friday afternoon. I'm Jay St Clair, meteorologist, Melanie Layden. Lots of sunshine today and temperatures.
Friends, Genesis Diamonds has their big two-day sale going on, and it's happening today and tomorrow, and I'm so excited about it. I hope that many of you have already headed to Green Hills or Cool Springs to check out the incredible selection of pre-owned Rolexes they have at both locations. Genesis Diamonds has this two-day event happening, and it is big, folks. You need to be a part of this. Let's talk about it. They're showcasing a mind-blowing collection of pre-owned Rolex watches, timepieces, featuring a stunning new selection of hard-to-find watches like Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, every Rolex model, including never-worn fresh models that people wait years to see. During this event, you can take advantage of the incredible pricing, but you can also take advantage of the 60 months zero-interest financing on these incredible timepieces. And with the purchase of any luxury pre-owned Rolex, you'll receive a pair of 3-carat lab-grown diamond stud earrings of the highest quality, absolutely free. What an amazing opportunity. 2 days only. Listen, friends, if you're already a Rolex owner and want to upgrade, now's a great time to do it. It's 2 days only this Friday, this Saturday, today and tomorrow, only at Genesis Diamonds, your home for luxury pre-owned Rolexes, Green Hills, and Cool Springs. Super Talk 99.7 WT, and good seeing you here. Thank you. Thank you for being here. If you give us 5 minutes every afternoon or the full 4 hours, I'm so appreciative of you. My name is Matt Murphy, and this conveniently is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. It is 39, almost 40 past the hour. That would be 3:40 in the afternoon on this Friday. Don't forget, Fry J is on the way for an amended Fry J today, only about 30 minutes today. I was hoping to get a senator on a little bit later on. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but we've got calls out to Senator Bill Hagerty, calls out to Senator Marsha Blackburn, requesting a response to what happened earlier today in the White House in the Oval Office. We want to get to your calls as well to find out your take on all of this. 615-737-9986. We're getting directly to calls right after I share with you, for those who missed it, what went down at the White House. So the setup is this. Obviously, Trump's not exactly pleased with the manner in which Zelenskyy has been comporting himself. And he's been a little bit of a little bluster has been coming out of Zelenskyy. And obviously, Trump knows that Zelenskyy wasn't his best buddy in terms of the continuation of all of the money that is being funneled into that country. And, you know, some of it's being used properly. Some of it's being misused. A lot of it's probably being misused. And some of that's probably being misused by Zelenskyy himself. And so this was the first opportunity that Trump had to sit down with Vladimir Zelenskyy and talk about peace. Trump's goal is peace. And all of the liberals want to screech, he's doing Putin's bidding. He's Putin's puppet. Well, what would you do? Do you want to go to war or not? I mean, if you're ready to spill blood, let me know. So in the context of Trump not necessarily being that happy, in the context of wanting to get a minerals deal done so that they can move on to talk about the security of that country, those security guarantees that Volodymyr Zelensky says he wants so desperately. All of that said, here's the exchange. I'm going to try not to start and stop because I think that would be unfair to those who have not heard it. But this was the exchange earlier today in the White House.
Yes, contract. Yes, but after that, he broke this ceasefire. He killed our people, and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are
Mr.
not
President,
strong-
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for...
All right, for some reason, I've picked the most echoey version of this imaginable. I'm going to try to find a better version of it real quick. Chris Webber will attempt to as well. See if you can't locate the full exchange that's not so echoey. I picked the most, I mean, that's on me, because I put it up on my Twitter feed. And there are better versions of that with better audio. While you're doing that, I'll talk to Mike in Old Hickory. Hello, Mike.
How you doing, Matt?
I'm great, Mike. What's on your mind?
Well, I want you to tell me that I'm wrong. I listen to your show every day. I turned it on. I started listening to you, I don't know, a while back, and I thought, I like this guy.
Well, thank you.
And so I'm driving home from the store, and I hear you talking about this big blow-up in the Oval Office between Zelensky, Trump, and Vance. And I didn't know what it was. I just was listening to you guys, and you guys are kind of making it sound like this is the biggest foreign policy disaster in American history because it was Trump's fault because Putin had a big win today.
I said
and
that?
I thought, no way.
I didn't say that.
Well, you said it was a big win for Putin.
Who's you guys? I didn't say it was a big. Who said it was a big win for Putin? I didn't.
Well, that's why I'm calling, because I heard it on your show. Somebody said it, and that the media and they're just going ape over this. So I came home and I watched the whole Oval Office, the whole thing.
Yeah, good.
And you know what? Trump did exactly what the American people want. He just put Zelensky in his place, saying, "You know what? You're not getting another dime, bud."
I don't know who you've been listening to, but I've not said any of the things that you've suggested I've said. I do. Let me finish, and then I'll let you finish. I've not said anything that you of the like. I fully support Donald Trump and what he did. I fully support J.D. Vance and what he did. I do believe that there needs to be a reset. I do believe that Zelensky should have come to the White House, hat in hand, because he needs something from us. We don't need nearly what he needs from us. We want peace. So absolutely, Donald Trump did the right thing by putting the United States of America first and telling him that if he's going to come into the White House with that sort of attitude, he can go home.
Well, then I agree with you. Then you and I are on the same page 100%.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let you know, though, because I watched that, and I hope when the American people come home tonight, they're going to get a big different narrative from the media because they didn't see it actually happen live. And I played it back, and the American people are going to have to try to put food on the table tonight. They're going to get a much bigger narrative from the left-wing media and the rhino Republicans. And I hope you can get a hold of Marsha Blackburn and Bill Haggerty, that, you know what, Trump is just doing what the American people wanted. We're going to stop giving money to these crooks. We know Putin is a crook. He's evil. We know that. Zelensky's also a crook, and we know that. He can't come up with where did he spend all these hundreds of billions of dollars from our money. And so let's just kind of calm down here as far as blaming the United States, not you anymore because we got that straight, that, you know what, this is what Trump was elected to do. Get down to the bottom of this corruption that's going around the world. But the media, you're going to come home tonight. People are going to turn it on at 6, 7 o'clock. Trump had the biggest blow up in history. He needs to be in peace. That's the narrative you're going to start seeing tomorrow.
Well, I mean, obviously, I don't believe that. I understand, Mike, that the mainstream media will spin it in a particular direction. And I fully understand that they don't have Trump or American interest in mind when they do so. They are anti-Trump. They have Trump derangement syndrome. And if Trump told them that they need to do if Trump told them not to drink their own pee, they would immediately advise you to drink your pee. That's where the mainstream media is. That's not hyperbolic either. I mean, that's what they do, just in a knee-jerk fashion, anything that what Donald Trump did today was to reset the relationship between the United States and the nation of Ukraine. And if Ukraine is not going to be appreciative of our help, we can take our help and go home. Now, some would suggest, oh, this helps Putin. Oh, I don't give a damn about Vladimir Putin, except that we want peace and we want the killing to stop. American interest is to attempt to negotiate a peace by which Vladimir Putin returns to his home country and leaves the people of Ukraine alone to be controlled by Zelenskyy, or, hopefully they'll eventually have free elections there too. They're not right now. Do you have my piece? All right, hopefully this has a slightly better sound quality to it, and I apologize. Let's listen in to the exchange for those who missed it, and then I'll give you some more full-throated analysis on it.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, the situation the same. That people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversations, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken the ceasefire. He killed our people, and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring it into this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Hey, I'm going to ask to start. I'm going to ask you to start for just a second. And I don't want to interrupt too much of this. We do have a break to take anyway, so it's probably a good point to break. So understand, this is where it goes sideways. They let Zelenskyy talk. They let him give a history lesson on his perspective of what came before now. And J.D. Vance tries to catch him up. Says, that's all fine, well, and good, but right now you have a very serious and pressing problem. You're bringing conscripts to the front line. Right now, you need peace. Right now, you need to stop the killing. And that's what we are invested in doing. That's what J.D. Vance is saying. And in response, Zelenskyy throws out you've never been to my country. You don't know what's happening. You don't know what's going on. That's basically what Zelenskyy responded with. You've never been to my country? You tell me what's going on in my country? That kind of attitude's not going to get you any more billions of dollars, bud. If I didn't know any better, that kind of attitude would get your ass thrown out of the White House. Oh, wait, it did. FAFO. And you did. More of this in a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Gentlemen, let's talk for a moment about some private matters. I understand that these things are, issues that you probably don't want to discuss publicly, but here's the deal. If you have intimacy issues, let's call them, some call them ED issues. If you've noticed this is a growing issue for you in your relationship, it is time to get it solved, men. It is as simple as a telephone call and an appointment with the Tennessee Men's Clinic. They have your solution. Evan Bass and his staff at Tennessee Men's Clinic. They're wondering, look, they understand that you don't want to talk about it, or, it's one of those things that you don't want to deal with, or you feel like it's going to go away on its own. It will not go away on its own, and it is easily solvable, especially for you men that have low T levels. Let's give a call to the Tennessee Men's Clinic at 615-208-9090. There are 2 locations. One's in Cool Springs. The other is in Midtown, the original location that was started in 2014. They have helped thousands of men get back to life again, get back to energy levels again, get back to intimacy again with the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Online, find out more at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Tennessee Men's Clinic.
President Trump leaves open the door for further talks with Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. Pope Francis suffered a setback in his health today, and new details about what was found when a search was conducted at the home of Oscar winner Gene Hackman, who was found dead with his wife and their dog on Wednesday. These stories and more at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. That Pope story is, tough to listen to.
Yeah, it's rough business.
That's, yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm reminded of the old Clint Eastwood line in the fabulous film Unforgiven, also starring Gene Hackman. He won a Best Supporting Actor. We all got it coming, kid. 56 after the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So So J.D. Vance brought up the issues involving diplomacy to Volodymyr Zelensky, and this set Zelensky off, right? So that's where we are. So Zelensky starts going off on what good is diplomacy? Well, what the hell are you doing here then? I mean, diplomacy is what is going to achieve you peace. And so Zelensky claims that he wants peace, but then dismisses J.D. Vance when J.D. Vance wants to talk about diplomacy. That behavior is typical, not just of Zelensky. It's really typical of the whole of Europe, the way that they treat us. Well, then go fight your own wars, people. So with that in mind, let's listen into a little bit more of this exchange that was happening today at the White House.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
Daddy just got
I'm
involved.
not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on
position
this
to
question.
dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this.
you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influenced.
We're going to feel very good and very
You
strong.
will feel influenced.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very.
It continues after this. I'm going to play a little bit more at the top of the hour, and then we'll get to a little Friday. We'll get to some of your telephone calls coming up at 615-737-9986. He comes into the White House, and the expectation is we're going to talk diplomacy. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is there. The Vice President of the United States is there. The President of the United States is there. And instead, Zelensky starts chiding us about diplomacy, telling us, well, there's nothing to be talked about because you can't believe in. What do you want? What are you here for? Apparently, he was here for a blank check.
Well, that part where he started lecturing Trump about you will feel influence. No. That's what set it off.
And Trump, I've heard it said, and it's appropriate. Trump immediately went from orange to red.
He did.
And the meeting was over. And the meeting was over. And rightly so. You need to go check your attitude at the door and then come back in here when you're ready to act in a manner that's going to achieve the peace that you claim to want. All right, more of your calls. Friday on the way. News first at Super Talk 99.7 WTN on a busy, busy Friday edition. First Amendment Freestyle Friday on Super Talk.
Four o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories on what has been a beautiful Friday. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. In our nation's capital, President Trump says Ukraine President Zelensky can come back when he's ready for peace. But if he doesn't sign a mineral deal with the U.S., then that means the U.S. is out of negotiation with Russia to end the war. Trump, Vice President Vance, and Zelensky got into a shouting match during a press avail this morning. This is some of how it sounded.
And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's back to you far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once? This
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire
today.
meeting, have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Afterward, Trump asked Zelensky to leave, and he did, without a mineral deal. Right now at the Vatican, Pope Francis said to have suffered a setback today, went into a coughing fit after breathing in vomit, It's called a bronchospasm, which required non-invasive ventilation, and reportedly the Pontiff responded well. New details about what was found when a search was conducted at the home of Oscar winner Gene Hackman, who was found dead with his wife and their dog in their New Mexico home on Wednesday. Here's Alex Stone.
When Santa Fe County Sheriff's deputies did a search of Gene Hackman's home, we now know from court documents what they retrieved. 2 green cell phones, thyroid medication, blood pressure, chest pain meds, Tylenol, blood lab test records that were apparently printed out in the home, and a 2025 monthly planner the couple had in their home. That could help lay out a timeline of when they were last alive. The sheriff indicating with no signs of injuries to their bodies that it will take autopsies to know how Gene Hackman and his wife died.
Here in Nashville, Metro Police teaming up with WeGo for a first-of-its-kind transit safety liaison aimed at making the bus system safer. This rider tells Channel 4 he's hopeful.
Get more security and just try to be more safe when you ride the bus because, anything can happen. Because a lot of people ride the bus, homeless people ride the bus. They may have a gun. They may get mad and may start shooting up everything. So it's all about safety.
New transit funding is adding more officers to the downtown bus station, and new mobile patrol will now ride on buses. A man faces up to 15 years in prison and fines after getting picked out of a police lineup for a road rage investigation in Nashville. News 2 says the victims picked out Rodney Musgraves as the man who they say pulled up beside them on I-40 downtown in November and pointed a gun at them after they merged in front of his pickup. Musgraves had just been placed on Metro Police's most wanted fugitives list this week. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Watkins Park got a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder, 40 eastbound after Charlotte Avenue. In Spring Hill, we've got a crash, 65 southbound right after 840. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy. This is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Thank you for being around. It is just after 4 o'clock. We'll get into Fry Jay momentarily. We'll get your calls just after. We'll have Jay until 4:30 today. I was this close to getting one of our United States senators on today. I don't believe that that's going to happen, but we will get to your telephone calls. It's been a huge news day, as you might expect. Well, let me tell you. If I asked you, Ken Weaver, and you, Chris Webber, who the American most pleased with what happened at the White House today would be, who would that be?
I would say Pam Bondi.
Pam Bondi is correct.
Bingo.
He's not the smartest and best executive producer in the United States of America for nothing, folks. He's got a brain on those shoulders, too, as well as 10 fingers to punch buttons with.
Yeah, that whole thing yesterday has disappeared.
Absolutely disappeared. Now, we don't want it to disappear permanently, obviously.
It won't be gone permanently.
But, yeah, as of today, we are not talking about that very much, as we are talking about the White House brouhaha, I guess we could call it, that erupted today. So Zelenskyy comes in. The White House not very happy with him already. The White House, kind of trying to reset these relations and help him understand that he needs to come with a little hat in hand if they're going to achieve the peace that he claims that he wants. J.D. Vance starts talking about diplomacy, and then Zelenskyy starts going off, basically saying, what good is it to talk about diplomacy? I don't want to talk about diplomacy. What good is diplomacy? We've talked about diplomacy before. Diplomacy hasn't worked before. Why are we talking about diplomacy? Essentially, screw your diplomacy. To which J.D. Vance says, hold on a second. You're litigating this in front of all of the media? What are you doing? And Zelenskyy says, well, I'll tell you what I'm doing. Diplomacy hasn't worked for us, hasn't worked for us with Russia. And he's like, listen, you understand where you are right now? You're making people fight. You don't have people that are willing to fight anymore. You've never been to my country. And this is going to affect all of us. And y'all have got a big ocean. I'm paraphrasing all of this, by the way. Y'all have got a big ocean, but it's coming to you too. And that's when Daddy got involved. It's like, what? Well, y'all aren't feeling it now. It almost sounded, I don't think he intended it as a threat, but it kind of sounded that way. And Trump did not like it. And everybody in the room immediately knew that Donald Trump did not like it. So just a little more of that exchange. So Donald Trump, we're at to the point where Zelenskyy says, well, you're going to feel it too. You got a big ocean, but you're going to feel it. And he's like, whoa, what are you talking about? And he goes, you're going to feel this influence. And Trump did not care for that. And he goes, listen, you're playing a game of cards and you don't have the cards. I'm not playing a game. No, you're gambling here. And you don't have the cards to gamble. And anyone that's ever played cards, I've played poker. I know. If you don't have the cards, you better bluff hard. And if you get called, all hell breaks loose and you lose all your money at the table. In this case, Donald Trump understands that. And that you don't have the card. Without the United States of America, you've got nothing to play. Why are you yelling at us? We're your best friend. You should be thanking us. Your house is on fire. We got the hose, man. And you're criticizing our manner in which we're using it? As the great Nathan Jessup said, I'd prefer you just say thank you and have a nice day. Otherwise, grab a weapon and man a post. And he's like, you're playing around with World War III here. And he is. And this is how that portion sounded. And we'll bring in Jay St Clair in just a second.
You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country, that's back to you, far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once this entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you? You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you can...
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No. You've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. you have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet.
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said thank
stupid
you.
president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and your
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about West
If you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this.
And that was kind of the end of it. It's going to be very hard to do business like this. And they left the Oval Office, and Donald Trump said, "We're not having a press conference, and we're not going to sign any rare earth mineral deal today." And he later on announced, the White House did, that if Zelenskyy wants to come back and offer peace, then so be it. You know, this exchange between Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelenskyy reminds me a lot of Jay and I fussing on the golf course when Jay's whipping my butt. I mean, St. Clair, when I'm begging him for a 3-foot putt, he's like, you haven't even said thank you. You not once have you said thank you. You beg for these 3-foot putts. You don't say thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our man, Jay St. Clair, on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, Jay.
Hey, Matt.
How are you?
Can you hear me okay?
I hear you great. I hear you loud and clear.
Good. I got a little static. You know, if I were any better, I would be J.D. Vance.
Man.
I know.
You. I mean,
boy, they coach him up over there at the Yale Law School, don't they?
he's hey, wait a minute. You know, now that I think about it, J.D. Vance did go to Yale, didn't he?
Uh-huh.
Jay, where'd you go?
Absolutely.
Where'd you go to law school?
Yale.
Where'd you go to law school? Thank you. It's never not funny to two people.
Chris, that is funny.
Two people think that's funny every single time. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I know for a fact that two people think that's funny.
That's funny.
Jay, I was just saying that Donald Trump dressing down Zelenskyy today is kind of like you dressing me down on the golf course when I'm begging for those 3-footers to be gimmies. I mean, woo. Lord, no.
Yeah, that was odd. I hadn't seen a lot of it. Apparently, it went on for a long time, right? I mean, they had a nice, pleasant conversation for 40 minutes. And then J.D. Vance spoke up and was talking about diplomacy. And then it just absolutely went off the rails.
Yeah, it was too bad. But, you know, that's Zelenskyy, I think Trump wanted him to come in. You know, I keep saying the phrase, but it's the one that comes to mind. Wanted to have his hat in his hand a little bit.
Yeah.
Because
my word, man, we've given them $250 billion.
Yep.
The first words and last words and middle words should have been thank you. Thank you for everything you've done. Right. You could not have said thank you enough.
Well, otherwise we can just go on home and we're all good here. Yeah, right. Yeah. Jay, what do you think about these lawsuits? That I'm just curious where we are in the 50,000-foot view. We like to start there, but there's a lot of lawsuits going on regarding what Elon's doing and the rest of the Trump administration over the first 40 days. Any thoughts since last week?
Yeah, I like the football analogy. It's in the South, everything always comes back to football, Matt. And so, when we first brought this up, I said, Matt, we're only 4 minutes into the first quarter. And Trump's up 7-3. I would say right now we're maybe 12 minutes into the first quarter, Matt. That's all we are. We're still in the first quarter. And I would say that Trump is up right now 14-6.
Mm-hmm.
And 14-6. I mean, there was a big one just yesterday where, there was a temporary restraining order issued telling him you got to pay $2 billion by midnight tonight. This is just one judge saying that, right? They got that all the way to the United States Supreme Court that very day, and Chief Justice Roberts stopped that.
Wow.
On his own. Stopped it. It was huge. And trust me, Chief Justice Roberts does not think a lot about Donald Trump. He does not have a high opinion of him at all, but he does have a high opinion for the separation of powers. and he has a lot of respect for the office of the presidency. So that was a big win right there. Actually, it may be 17-6 as I think about it now. That counts as at least a field goal. So this will play out over months and months. I mean, right now there's just these little temporary restraining orders. They're only in place for 30 days. And my word, this has all been going on for years and years. So does 30 days really matter that much? But eventually it'll work itself up through the system. And I think that they will end up getting, well, a majority of what they want. I mean, there's the Doge part, there's the money part, right? But then there's a lot of social part of it too. The DEI stuff and the immigration stuff. So we'll see. But no, I think that they will get more than they don't.
Well, you know how much I appreciate your intellect and how much I appreciate our conversations, but I need you to know that those sometimes carry over to the conversations I have with these congressmen and women. And I've asked the question, okay, because you brought this up several weeks ago. Look, it's all well and good that Donald Trump is utilizing his executive order ability to do some of these things. Where is the Congress? The reason that it's necessary is because the Congress is, ceded large swaths of its responsibility. And I'm asking these congresspeople, when are y'all going to start acting and making sure that these things that are happening that you say, they're there on the sidelines, they're cheerleading, they're like, go Trump, all right. Well, let's get to action. Let's go.
So you're saying that I am the J.D. Vance to your Donald Trump?
Well,
okay, I can live with that.
Yeah, I
can live with that.
I'll go with that too. The intellect behind the loudmouth throne. I say that more for myself. I'm the loudmouth, not Trump. Don, that's not a knock on Trump.
Yeah, well, no, I think that's an apt analogy.
Well, that's probably true. It's probably true. All right, a quick timeout. Jay's with us. Any questions you have for Jay during our Friday segment? It's a little bit of a suspended segment with all of the news going on. My hopes have slowly but surely been dashed on the Senator Blackburn, Senator Haggerty front, but we're anticipating some conversations with those guys soon next week. Maybe I'm holding out hope on one of them. I won't tell you which one. It's 19 after the hour. More Friday coming up next. I don't know if you noticed, but the temperatures are well into the 70s now in Nashville and the surrounding environment, and spring is going to be here before you know it. It feels like it's already here today. Now is the time to apply that pre-emergent on your lawn and your landscape to stop those summer weeds. Did you know this? It is time right now. And at every location, at Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply, they have those pre-emergents ready for you. And all of those locations have experts available. Look, here's what Dickens, they do a lot of things better than the big box stores. One, they are your Kawasaki engine parts and service dealer. Kawasaki certified technicians that use genuine Kawasaki parts. That's one. Number two, they have qualified folks that can talk to you on a level that you can understand about turf and landscaping, meaning they know what they're talking about. So if you don't know anything about pre-emergence, big box stores can't tell you. Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply, they certainly can. When you're looking for quality parts, products, and the best advice, visit where the pros go. One-stop shopping. Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. 7 convenient locations: Nashville, Bellevue, Murfreesboro, Brentwood, Hendersonville, Mount Juliet, and Franklin. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply online at dickenssupply.com.
President Trump leaves open the door for Ukraine President Zelenskyy to come back when, as Trump puts it, he is serious about a peaceful end to the war with Russia. And we just got some new information on the deaths of actor Gene Hackman and his wife. They've both tested negative for carbon monoxide. These stories and more coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
24 after the hour, a few minutes with Jay St. Clair. We'll get back to your calls regarding Volodymyr Zelenskyy and the incident that happened in the White House today. We do have a congressman that perhaps is going to be joining us in about 20 minutes or so on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. But right now, your questions and comments for our man, Jay St. Clair, on this Friday. Jay, one Supreme Court argument, I don't know if you've been covering this, and I apologize if I'm asking you. I mean, you're so up on the Supreme Court, though. I was interested in this case, this employment discrimination case that the Supreme Court heard recently involving a straight woman who claims that she lost positions to gay men.
Right.
And it's just a very interesting dynamic. And I'm just, when you start playing in those identity waters in employment decisions, I mean, but this is your area of expertise. I would feel like employment law is pretty clear with regard to non-discrimination against individuals. You just don't go there if you're a boss. What do you advise your the folks that you talk to from an employment standpoint?
No, you're absolutely right, Matt. The law says it's very simple. It's non-discrimination. You cannot base employment decisions based on sex, or you can't on age or religion or race. I mean, you just can't do it. It's illegal.
Right.
And it doesn't matter which sex that cuts against. So we call these reverse discrimination claims. They're rare. But, you know, what this really speaks to is DEI, because equity is different from, I mean, there is more quotas. I'm not saying that all companies that have that do that, but that's kind of the idea. It's not an equality of opportunity. It's equality of outcomes or results.
Mm-hmm.
That's illegal, man.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot base decisions. You cannot have quotas. You just can't have it. And so that's what these cases speak to. I had a case a few years ago, man, for a big company. I won't mention their name. This guy made a lot of money. He sold high-end medical devices, and I mean, he made about $600,000-$700,000 a year. And he claimed, he was a white guy in Alabama, and he claimed that he was let go so they could hire more women. Well, the company had a problem because the CEO had given a speech in which he said that within 3 or 4 years, our goal is to have 40% women in our sales force. I mean, he said a number, a quota.
Wow.
Yeah, and so we actually paid to have a mock jury hear that case. We were fighting over millions of dollars. And it was funny, the company was based up in Minnesota. You'll appreciate this. And so they were like, oh, man, we're in Alabama. You know, a white guy saying he's getting fired for one man. We're going to get hammered. Those rednecks down there, they're going to buy that. and I said, hey, I got faith in my people. These are my people. I got faith in them because we had a pretty good story as to why we let the guy go.
Right.
And so we did mock juries, which is a big expensive thing. Had 2 groups come in. We won both cases, and both people said no. They had good reasons to fire him. But then they asked some questions like a focus group, and they said, "Well, what do you think about this quota thing?" It is funny. I'll never forget this. One of the guys. I mean, this was a good old boy. He said, "Well, no CEO would say that because that is CEO suicide." And I was watching my client when they said that, and all the blood drained out of their face. So yeah, it's it is perfectly legal, and it's probably a good thing to try to get people from all walks of life to apply.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to making the decision, you cannot base it on race or sex. And that means you can't discriminate against black people. You can't discriminate against white people. You can't discriminate against women. You can't discriminate against men.
David is next up for Jay St. Clair with a question for Jay. Hello, David.
Yeah, this is about the Jeffrey Epstein case. The madam that worked under him, okay, she's in prison.
Uh-huh.
All right. Now, can Congress force her to testify and give the name she knows or whatever she knows, or can she refuse? And if she does refuse, can they add to her sentence? And I'm going to get off, because she knows everything. They're talking about files. She was there.
Yep.
I thought, if I'm not mistaken, she had the list, and that's what kept her alive.
That's
all.
She knew what happened, David. Here's the thing. She may still be subject to state law criminal prosecutions, David. And so she could probably validly plead the Fifth Amendment because she may still be facing prosecutions from states. If she pleads the Fifth Amendment, they cannot increase her sentence.
I want to say that she still has some appeal left, too.
She does. She's appealing her federal case.
Well, and would that prevent could she hold her hands up and say, no, you can't compel me to say anything because I'm currently appealing? Could she do that too?
Yeah, I suppose she could make that argument, but I think that's a tough argument to make on the federal side, man.
Okay.
Because the trial's over with.
Right.
Well, I don't know. I guess they could send it back for retrial. So, yes, I think about it a little bit more. Yeah, that's even additional grounds for her to say, no, my case is still pending. You cannot compel me to testify against myself.
Boy,
so now they can't make her testify, and they can't increase her sentence for executing her constitutional right to not incriminate herself.
Jay, I know you'll appreciate this comment from our buddy 1972 in Tennessee. Why do I feel like the Ukraine-Russian war is like a Alabama-Georgia football game and the whole world wishes both sides would lose?
You tell 1972 he has the wisdom of Solomon.
I thought you'd like that.
That's funny.
Final thought. Chuck writes in and says, Matt, I'm sure Jay has seen some pretty heated situations in the courtroom, and considering the heated situation in the Oval Office, does any heated situation courtroom story come to mind?
No, the most heated situation that I've seen occurred at a casino in Las Vegas with my best friend Matt Murphy. When they needed his ID to sign up for a player's card, an ID, and he gave him his ID, and the driver's license was expired.
Mm-hmm.
And the lady began cross-examining him about that. And I thought a fist fight was going to break out between my buddy Matt Murphy and this nice lady.
When I loudly asked that woman if she has ID'd everyone in this facility, that's when people around the craps table started looking at me funny. Like, have you ID'd everybody in this casino, man?
And then she said, well, I just may have to call this one up. And what'd you say to that, man?
Well, call it up. Let's go.
And I'll concede this wasn't our first casino we'd been to that evening. So, I mean, it wasn't like, you hadn't been through happy hour.
I mean, yeah, there was some liquid refreshment involved in my general frustration.
Yeah, that's way more heated than anything I've ever seen in the courtroom. You can't do too much of that in the courtroom. They'll put you in jail.
Well, the best part about that story is they were tearing the place down 2 months later.
Yeah, right.
And everybody do it. Jay, I love you. I'm sorry we've got suspended Fry Jay today, but we'll do it full throttle next week, my friend.
Look forward to it, buddy.
All right, take care. There's Jay St. Clair. We'll be back in just a moment. News now.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We're tracking the potential for severe weather early next week. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes, and we are now learning new information about the deaths of actor Gene Hackman, his wife, and their dog. All of them found Wednesday in their New Mexico home. Hackman and his wife testing negative for carbon monoxide, so a cause and manner of death are pending. The sheriff says they had been dead at least 10 days. In our nation's capital, President Trump says Ukraine President Zelenskyy can come back when Trump says Zelenskyy is ready for peace. But if he doesn't sign a mineral deal, then the U.S. is out of negotiating with Russia to end the war. Trump, Vice President Vance, and Zelenskyy got into a shouting match during a press avail this morning, and this is some of how it sounded.
Everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
that.
You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on
position to
this question.
dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this.
you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
Afterward, Trump asked Zelenskyy to leave, and he did. No mineral deal yet. A setback for 88-year-old Pope Francis as he remains hospitalized for pneumonia. He had a coughing fit after inhaling vomit and required non-invasive ventilation to recuperate today. Right now in Nashville, Mayor Freddie O'Connell speaking on the benefits of a new transit safety liaison program to make the bus system safer.
When you see people on foot patrol, bike patrol, patrolling in cars, when you have people present on vehicles at bus stops, we're going to just be sending a signal across the city that this entire system is intended to be safe.
This $6 million WeGo security contract starts in April. And that's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, we got a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder, 40 eastbound after Charlotte Avenue. In Madison, Gallatin Pike North, just south of Altaloma Road, we got a crash. Eastern Split, crash right there, 40 westbound after 24. And then in Woodbine, got a crash, 24 westbound at I-440. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I would be... That was a premature advertisement propulsion by me, your host. My apologies. I was going to say before I rudely interrupted the weather guy. He did not rudely interrupt me, but I was going to say that I'd be remiss if I did not tell you that today is the final day at the Big Glock store for the 2-for-1 event. You've got to get it signed up for today, and you've got only a few short minutes left. So if you go online today at shoot270.com and then give them a call and schedule a shooting session, today's the day to get that 2-for-1 special in. Mention my name and you can get it done. Now, at the Glock store, one of the reasons that Glocks are the most popular handguns in America, the wide availability of custom and performance parts. From competition triggers to night sights to extended controls, magwells, red dot optics to there's just too many upgrades for me to mention them all in a 60-second commercial. But rest assured, if it is for a Glock, when the name on the store is Glock Store carries it. And we're lucky to have them right here in their big retail showroom in Nashville, Tennessee. If the Glock Store is open for business, there's always a certified gunsmith on duty. Always. Again, always. If the Glock Store is open, there's one in the store. Go by and see the Glock Store today. Go to glockstore.com to find out more, glockstore.com, or better yet, stop by. They're just off Briley Parkway, off Elm Hill Pike, as a matter of fact, on Air Lane Drive, minutes away from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere. It's the Glock Store.
For many of us, generators are becoming a must-have household appliance. From unpredictable weather to surprise outages, it's better to be safe than sorry. Generator Supercenter of Nashville offers fast and easy installations with 24/7 service and monitoring to all brands of generators and expert repairs done right. Our mission is to make owning a backup generator simple and easy. Visit your local store today or check us out online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
A few minutes ago, standing outside of the White House, the President of the United States was answering some questions from assembled reporters. I just, as far as we can on this, just pull this up and let's listen to some of this audio on Super Talk.
Prime Minister yesterday of UK, as you know. We had the Prime Minister of India. We have another 20 Prime Ministers and Presidents wanting to come. And very good feeling. I think our country has really turned around. We had a meeting today, as you know, with President Zelenskyy, and I would say it didn't work out exactly great from his standpoint. I think he very much overplayed his hand. We're looking for peace. We're not looking for somebody that's going to sign up a strong power and then not make peace because they feel emboldened, and that's what I saw happening. I'm looking for peace. We're not looking to go into a 10-year war and play games. We want peace. And it was just my impression that if we do that, if we sign up, he's looking for something that I'm not looking for. He's looking to go on and fight. We're looking to end the death. 2,000 people died this week. Soldiers, more than that, but 2,000 approximately people died this week. Young Ukrainians and Russians. And somebody would say, why do you care about Ukraine and Russian soldiers? I care about them. I care about everybody. And we're not doing that. Now, if we don't do anything, he's going to have to make peace, but he's dealing with a very weak set of cards. If we sign, he's dealing with a very strong set of cards, and then he doesn't want to make peace. So that's where we are. It's very simple. I'm not looking to get into anything protracted. I want immediate peace. President Putin is going to want to make, and he wants to end it. And you saw what I saw today. This is a man that wants to get us signed up and keep fighting, and we're not doing that, not for this country. So we're setting a lot of records. Economically, we're setting records, and I think every way we're setting records. One of the best is the right track, wrong track. You saw that. We're on the right track for the first time in over 27 years. People are...
All right, there's the president. Not to disrespect the right track, wrong track numbers, but we got the gist of his takeaway from his get-together with Volodymyr Zelenskyy earlier today, very calmly saying, look, I mean, this guy, we want peace. If you're interested in peace, you come to the table with that in mind, with your hat in your hand. And if you don't want peace, then then we're not going to be there with you. It's as simple as that. It's interesting to me that the mainstream media and many of the liberals around the United States of America have positioned this as you either continue the bloodshed, you continue the war, you continue the killing, or you are Putin's puppet. That's their position. And that's not true. We can have a great distaste for Vladimir Putin, and I do. Vladimir Putin is a killer. Vladimir Putin is a cold-blooded killer. He's evil. But unless we want to engage in a level of nation building that I don't think we're ready to do, then we should strive for peace for the Ukrainian people, which is what Donald Trump wants to do. Your thoughts on this? I've been promising them all day. Here's my takeaway. America first. Our interest needs to come first in all of this. And we are willing to help. We're willing to get them where they want to go. Donald Trump is willing to get them where they want to go. J.D. Vance is willing to get them where they want to go. But you have to come at this with the right attitude, too, if you're Volodymyr Zelenskyy. And apparently I don't know if he thought he was dealing with Joe Biden still. I don't know if he thought he was dealing with a weak America that is just a mouth and a checkbook. Donald Trump did not walk into the Oval Office with a checkbook in his hand. And I suppose that's what Volodymyr Zelenskyy was looking for. And, you liberals, you're owning yourself, because Vance and Trump both said, where's our thank you? And look, I don't need to hear that necessarily, but it would be nice to hear a thank you out of Volodymyr Zelenskyy. And suddenly a bunch of liberals on social media on the X machine came up. Well, he said thank you here and here and here and here and here. And it's all thank you to Joe Biden after Joe Biden authorized money. So I guess he says thank you once he gets his salary, once he gets his money, once he gets his allowance. That was the word I was looking for, allowance. He's not even done his chores. He wants his allowance. You got to do your chores if you want to get your allowance, kid. Mike is in Nashville with a thought on this, 615-737-9986. Hello, Mike. Good afternoon.
Okay, can you hear me?
Mike, you sound good.
Okay, well, here's the first thing. The first form of disrespect, and he's been doing it for a long time, Zelenskyy, is the way that this man addressed. I've talked to several people and my girlfriend and other people. This guy doesn't even look like a president. You don't walk into the White House with all black attire, some army military fatigues or whatever he has on. You're sitting down with the president of the United States, and by Donald Trump and Vance are dressed with suits and ties, and he should do the same. I've never seen this man with a suit and tie on. If you're going to the White House to negotiate deals, you need to look like you're going to the White House to negotiate deals. He doesn't look like that as far as I'm concerned. Now, the second form of disrespect that Zelenskyy did with Trump, and like you said before, I don't know if it was a threat or not, but what he said that the United States is protected by the ocean and that one day we're going to have the same problem that he's having. Whether he's threatening that Russia is going to make a move on the U.S., I don't know. But you don't say that, and Donald Trump let him know real clearly that you don't threaten the United States, not sitting in the White House. And after he's received all of this money, like you said before, do you realize how much money $350 billion is? This guy has received more than that from the United States. I'm not telling him to kiss, the U.S.'s rear end, but you need to be thankful when you come to the White House and sit down with Vance and Trump and show some kind of respect. And we know that Vladimir Putin can't be trusted. That's what he was mainly talking about, that he wants a guarantee that if he has the ceasefire, that Putin is going to do likewise. And Putin can't be trusted. We already know this. And hopefully Donald Trump doesn't trust him. But I want to say this right quick. If there's going to be any kind of negotiating of a deal, Vladimir Putin, I don't know if he's afraid to leave Russia, if he's afraid to step foot into he might be arrested or something. I don't know. But Vladimir, if they need to meet at a neutral site or something, all three of these individuals, Donald Trump, Zelenskyy, and Putin, need to be sit down at a table, all three of them, and negotiate this thing the right way. If it's on live TV, that'll be good too. But all three of them needs to be there. You can't negotiate a deal with two people that are fighting and only one nation shows up. And I thank you for taking my call.
Thank you, Mike. Succinct as always, cogent, and very well thought out. I appreciate your call. 615-737-9986. If you missed it, there was a comment about Volodymyr Zelenskyy in the White House today. There was a question asked of Volodymyr Zelenskyy. Listen to this.
My second question for President Zelenskyy. Why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if do you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not respecting.
I don't have such.
Office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe
something
something like yours.
Yes.
Maybe something better. I don't know. We will see. Maybe something cheaper than Thank you. Thank you for.
A reporter in the White House said, why don't you wear a suit to the White House? And he said something about a costume. I don't really know what he was saying there, but something about he will do that after the war is over. I don't it is a level of respect. I mean, when you come to the table of negotiation, there's a certain level of expectation. There is a bit of performance involved in what he wears, it seems. He has worn the same outfit, either olive green or black, fatigue-like clothes since I've seen him as president of his country. So,
and maybe that's what set Trump off when he stepped out of that SUV.
I mean, Trump said something to him outside, didn't he, Ken?
Well, he said, so I see you dressed up for it. And, I mean, I could see. I mean, if you go back, Trump's face is relaxed. As the SUV pulls up, once the door opens he sees Zelenskyy, his face changes immediately.
Man, oh man. Well, I mean, look, it goes to, are you respecting the office? Not even the man. Or do you respect the office? Do you respect the country? Do you respect what we're trying to do for you? Zelenskyy probably didn't mean anything by it, but that doesn't mean that it is not going to be received with a certain modicum of frustration and even anger if it is perceived as a disrespectful gesture toward the United States of America. Stephen's on the road next. Hello, Stephen.
Brother Matt, how's it going, man?
What's up, Steven?
Woo, feeling it today, man. We are having a good discussion out here today, man. I'm glad everybody finally gets to see this ego trip that this Zelenskyy guy has been on since he's been in power since day one in that country. I think every decision that he's made as a leader and as a president has been mistakes. They've been the wrong reason. They've been driven by greed and by, resentment and just making mistakes, man. He's on an ego trip. He thinks he's going to come over here and hustle us. He thinks he's a hustler. You know, I watched the whole thing from the beginning, and some people can say, yeah, it was calm and collective until J.D. Vance kicked in, but he was jumping around. He was speaking out of turn. He was trying to insert himself from the very beginning. It looked like he was on some kind of drug. Something wasn't right with this guy, but that's just who he is, and now everybody sees that. But, you know, I think Trump hit the nail on the head when he said, you're not going to come over here and dictate anything.
Right.
You're not going to put fear in us, because that's exactly what the guy is. He's a dictator, and Biden and all the idiots fattened him up a little bit, and he thinks he's gonna keep on using us. But I mean, he's never been in NATO. He's been greed. It's greed, Matt, is what it is. It's really just the dude needs to realize, just like Vance told him, we're trying to help you save your country. He don't care. He don't care about none of them people that's lost their lives. He don't care about nothing other than himself being on the stage and putting on a show.
Well spoken, Stephen. Thank you for the call. 52 after the hour. I would note, too, regarding the attire worn by Volodymyr Zelenskyy. And once again, I don't get too caught up in it, but I would note, Ronald Reagan refused to take his coat off in the Oval Office because he said he has enough respect for the Oval Office and the power of the presidency of the United States of America that he's not going to take his coat off while at work. That has changed. And presidents do. I don't know that I've ever seen Trump with his jacket off. Obama did, and Biden, of course. But times have changed. That is the amount of respect that our former presidents and our current president have for the Oval Office, and we would expect that people that are coming asking us for things would have a same level of respect. It's 53 after the hour on Super Talk. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy, and I want to talk to you for a moment about our buddies, the Men of Valor. Men of Valor's got their big breakfast coming up. It's a pretty special event. If you've never been, I invite you to go. I'll be there, and there might be something special right around the corner regarding the Matt Murphy table at the Men of Valor breakfast, the 2025 Men of Valor breakfast. Just keep that in the back of your mind, and more on that coming up next week. It's March 26th. Wednesday morning, starts at 7 o'clock in the morning at Music City Center. More than 1,500 supporters will be in attendance. It's quite a special event. As you go up the escalators toward the big ballroom at the Music City Center, you'll see so many of the graduates from the Men of Valor program. Men who were lost souls and were leading lost lives, who found themselves in the prison system. Some of them had recommitted offenses and had been back time and again in the prison system, and then they found the power of Jesus Christ through Men of Valor. And with that power, they have made something of themselves, made something of their lives, become productive members of society. Instead of taking from the system, they're giving back to the system itself. Men of Valor, this wonderful organization, can be found at movministry.com. Find out more about the breakfast, movministry.com.
We have just learned how long Gene Hackman and his wife may have been dead before they were found on Wednesday. And President Trump leaves open the door to more negotiation with Ukraine President Zelenskyy. These stories and more at 5 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. In the 5 o'clock hour, we're going to jump to a couple of local stories of note. One, I failed to mention it yesterday. I wanted to bring it up, but we'll do it on a First Amendment Freestyle Friday. A woman is recovering from stab wounds, and the suspect in her case is dead after a neighbor shot the man in her defense. I don't know, and I've not seen an update on this story that would indicate that we know the name of this hero, but I want to highlight this individual as an absolute hero, and we'll do so in the next hour of the show. I just thought of a third local story. Local story number 2. Apparently, we had there's been a big boycott of the major retailers today.
Is that so?
Oh, that's apparently so. February 28th. Don't buy anything from Target. Don't buy anything from Wally World. Some of the other big box stores. Apparently, Costco's okay because they still have their big DEI program in place. But
that's what it is.
Any retailer that's no DEI. These daily boycotts wear me out, brother. I mean, they just wear me out. Y'all boycott all day today because y'all
knock yourself out.
Knock yourself out because we know where y'all going to be in the morning. Knocking on the door, Wally World, trying to get that cheap stuff. We'll talk about that. And the third one is an update on the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway deal. That is all coming up. Plus your telephone calls on Vladimir Zelenskyy and more. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Halfway home. Good afternoon.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories on this beautiful Friday. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. We just got new information about the deaths of actor Gene Hackman and his wife and their dog. All of them found Wednesday in their New Mexico home. Hackman and his wife have tested negative for carbon monoxide. A cause and manner of death are pending, but the sheriff says they had been dead for at least 10 days. In our nation's capital, President Trump says Ukraine President Zelenskyy can come back when he's ready for peace. But Trump says if he doesn't sign a mineral deal, then the U.S. is out of negotiation to end the war with Russia. It's exactly what he told Zelenskyy today when that press avail in the Oval Office went south. This is some of how it sounded.
You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
Afterward, Trump asked Zelenskyy to leave. He did. No mineral deal yet. Pope Francis has suffered another setback. Let's get the latest from Terry Moran in Rome.
The Pope had basically a coughing fit, which led to vomiting, and he inhaled some of that. They aspirated his lungs and put him on aggressive ventilation, and they are happy about the result of that. But they are now saying that they still want to look 48 hours out to see if there's infection that results from that or if this respiratory problem improves at all.
Here in Tennessee, neighbors say that the suspect who was shot during the stabbing in Brentwood was going after his own mother. When he was shot by another neighbor, he died. Here's Channel 4's Jordan James.
Leading up to this, witnesses tell WSMV4 that Julian Porter allegedly attacked his mother outside of their Brentwood home Wednesday evening with a knife. A witness says the 26-year-old refused to drop the weapon despite them honking and calling out for help. The commotion caught the attention of a neighbor who reportedly gave Porter warnings to drop the knife. Once he refused, that's when that neighbor shot Porter, who died from his injuries. Following the shooting, the witness tells us that the woman kept asking, was her son still alive, and to call her husband.
Big tech news today. Microsoft says it is ending Skype to focus more on Teams. Skype will be closing down May 5th. Users have 10 weeks to decide what they want to do with their account. Microsoft says Skype had 36 million users in 2023, a long way from its peak of 300 million users. Black Sabbath sings about a planet caravan. Well, there's going to be a planet caravan tonight. 7 planets: Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, Mercury, Saturn, and Venus going to be visible simultaneously and look like a caravan when seen from Earth after sunset. But you'll need a telescope or binoculars to see Neptune and Uranus. Venus and Jupiter and Mars should be really bright and easy to pick off with just your eyes. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, there is a crash reported by police. This is going to be 40 westbound. It's right past 24, just east of downtown. Then we've got a crash in Williamson County. Looks like the left lane is blocked 65 southbound at June Lake Boulevard. Back in Nashville, 24 westbound at I-440. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, as we speak, it's apparently Brett Baer of Fox News is interviewing Volodymyr Zelenskyy right now. We're going to share some of that as it comes to us, if we possibly can, regarding the path forward. He started off, I'll just share this with you. Volodymyr Zelenskyy started off by profusely and repeatedly thanking the United States of America and Donald J. Trump. And when asked if he owes an apology to Donald Trump, I think he says no. He said, I'm not sure that we did anything bad. I think maybe sometimes things we have to discuss out of the media. And so he's talking with Brett Baer right now. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what, y'all get on board, 615-737-9986. We'll catch you up. If you've been at work, if you've been absent from all of this today. My goodness gracious, we got a lot to catch up on. Volodymyr Zelenskyy was at the White House earlier today. It went badly. He basically got booted out of the White House. And so let's listen to this exchange. This is Fox News, courtesy Fox News, Brett Baer and Volodymyr Zelenskyy. Let's listen to this.
To make today about the minerals deal and the economic deal, and then get it signed and let negotiations play out over security guarantees step by step. Is that true?
I said that we have to sign this document, and we are ready for this, and this will be the first step to security guarantees, but it's not enough. I think so. Maybe I don't know something. I don't know some details. That's why I wanted to share it with the president, my thoughts, and to hear him. Again, because he has a plan how to stop Putin. And maybe, as I said, maybe it's out of big conversations, but we have to share it. You know, this is so sensitive. You know, just a ceasefire without security guarantees, this is so sensitive for our people. I'm speaking like a president of a people who are in this struggle 3 years, and they just want to hear that America on our side and that America will stay with us, not with Russians, with us. That's it. But I'm sure that it will be. This is the first step to security guarantees. Europeans, we don't need to lose them. They are good allies for the United States. The United States is the most or the biggest donator of support and of peace. But we don't need to lose Europe, and they also want to know next steps. We have to be very open to understand how to stop the war.
Right. But do you think the public spat in the Oval Office in front of the media served Ukrainians well today?
I think this kind of spat is I mean, this we have. I mean, this is not good for both sides anyway, and I'm very open, but I can't, you know, change our Ukrainian attitude to Russian, and I don't want they kill us for us. You know, this is very, very clear that Americans are the best of our friends, Europeans are the best of our friends, and Putin with Russian, their enemies. And it doesn't mean that we don't want peace. We just want to recognize the reality, the real situation.
President Trump is convinced that you will never sign a deal with Vladimir Putin. Is he right?
No, I think so. What I think, Ukraine wants peace, and we will have anyway diplomacy. We will have negotiations. I only said that I think so. It's about just and lasting peace. It means that we have to be very strong at the table of negotiations, and at these negotiations, Ukraine and Russia, like sides of this war, have to be, and the United States and Europe. That's what I said. So we are ready for peace, but we have to be in strong position. What does it mean? Just to know that our army is strong, that our partners with us, and that we have security guarantees. Am I not right?
Leaving the White House today, President Trump said this.
He's looking to go on and fight.
Courtesy of Fox News, you're listening to Brett Baer.
What do you make of that? Do you want to continue fighting? Do you want peace? And if he had the opportunity to go back to the White House right now, would you do it?
No. First of all, we want peace. That's why I'm in the United States. That's why I visited President Trump. And thanks for the invitation again. The deal on minerals is the first step to security guarantees. It's meant for the peace, closer to peace. That's why I'm here. And we have tough situation. To understand it is to be in Ukraine. You saw it, Brad. You was once. Thank you again. So I think that's very important to understand what's going on. But I respect my soldiers and our people, our civilians who work and support our warriors. I can't say just stop. Nobody will stop, because everybody afraid that Putin will come back tomorrow. We want just and lasting peace. It's true. We want security guarantees. We raised this topic about NATO the quickest way, but not all the countries are on this side. I said, okay, if not NATO, nobody is pushing. If not NATO, let's build NATO in Ukraine. That's my position. Europeans are ready to have contingents on our territory, boots on the ground. United States thinks maybe to help, maybe USA backstop, have to be just to guarantee that they are with the Europeans. Look at Europe. It's strong. It became stronger, but they also want to have allies like the United States. That's what I said. I just want to understand what the peace. It's not my question, Brad. This is the question from all our people.
You mentioned when I traveled to the front lines with you last year to see the situation, to mark the anniversary of the war, and this is what you told me back then.
Will Ukrainians survive without Congress support? Of course, but not all of us. It will be tragedy for all of us, not only for Ukraine, not only for Ukrainians, for all Europe.
One more moment here with Brett Baer and Zelensky. This is very compelling.
Can Ukraine win this war or hold off Russia without continued U.S. support?
It will be difficult for us. That's why I'm here. That's why we speak about the future.
The answer to that's no. Okay, pull it down. So, yeah, Zelensky knows the answer to that is no. That's Volodymyr Zelensky. He opened up in the conversation with Brett Baer on Fox News saying that he's very thankful for the United States of America, thankful for the money, thankful for the military supplies, thankful for the materials, thankful for the humanitarian aid and the financial assistance. And that's all well and good. And to that I say you're welcome. Secondarily, this cannot be an unconditional amount of money, an unlimited amount of money that we're sending to Ukraine. You know, I want Ukraine to be a free people as well. At some point, the Europeans have to step up. Zelensky seems to be stuck on this concept of security guarantees. And I understand they were guaranteed back in the 1990s, and sadly, the United States and others did not live up to those. I mean, Russia was a part of those guarantees. Europe has to commit to those guarantees. NATO has to commit to those guarantees if they so choose. The United States of America is, as Zelensky said, an ocean away. We're not going to commit to that, nor should we commit to that. Now, we will have a vested interest if we arrange a rare earth minerals deal. We have a vested interest in making sure that the Ukrainian people remain sovereign. And while that does not rise to the level of a military security guarantee, it's pretty close. So there's Volodymyr Zelensky. I don't want to get too far away from this. Is Weaver back there? Is he still back there? Hey, Ken, a lot of folks, yes, I hesitate to say this even now. I'm thinking about saving it for my Nincompoops in the News segment.
What's that?
There's a Nincompoops in the News.
Okay.
And it's you. Okay. According to super texters on the super text line, because they disagree with you.
Okay.
They do not believe that you need a telescope to see Uranus. Many of them are. This is even better. I'm sorry, don't make me laugh. This is even better.
Oh, I
because
needed
it's
that.
like this is even better because it's like 10 minutes away from it. So people are just getting in their car, they're chunk chunk, and they're firing up the old engine, and they hear Matt Murphy say, "You do not need a telescope to see Uranus." Many of them are suggesting that you need a mirror to see Uranus.
I knew it, man. I'm telling
Maybe
you.
a mirror on a stick.
That story.
Selfie stick.
Every time I've read that story, I am biting my lip to not laugh whenever that word comes up.
I don't care for any story that includes the word Uranus and the word caravan. Did the story not have the word caravan in it too, Ken?
Yes,
I think
sir.
it did.
That's how I wrote it.
And and apparently Uranus is a part of a caravan?
Yes, sir.
I'll
It's
be
a
darned.
big old parade.
I bet it is. Bet it is.
See, that's what the scientists are calling it. They're calling it a planet parade.
Oh, are they now?
But I'm calling it a planet caravan because I like
it.
Black Sabbath.
Well, you know, I don't want any caravan coming near Uranus.
Yeah, for me either.
What do you care about his for? You should be worried about your own.
Well, you know what? It demonstrates my lack of professionalism and Ken's absolute professionalism. He got through the entire newscast, not a crack Not a crack. And I know what he was thinking.
No pun intended.
Not a crack out of you. Me, I'm giggling in here all newscast long. 18 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It says Jerry is anti-Ukraine, and I wonder what that means. Hello, Jerry.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm anti-Ukraine. I don't think either one of them are, exactly great people or, countries or terrible leaders. But, I think people seem to forget that, Russia started this. Russia has already stolen and gotten away with Crimea and many parts of their eastern half. They're not exactly the good guys. Now, I don't think any of us know exactly what the deal is. So, but I think Russia deserves some kind of punishment for what they've done. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I agree with you. What sort of punishment are we going to mete out to Russia absent a military victory?
Well, personally,
Sanctions?
I think Ukraine really already won. I mean, they've proven that, Russia is probably a lot weaker than a lot of us even thought of. The fact that they're having so much trouble with them. But, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's sanctions. I don't know if we force them to give us or give Ukraine money. I don't know. I mean, that's just – but I don't think they deserve to, not have any kind of repercussions for what they've done. I mean, remember, they started the whole thing.
I agree. I'm also I'm respectful of this position that you're taking, Jerry, so don't get me wrong here. But once again, Russia has not lost the war. Russia started it, yes. Ukraine is fighting a valiant fight, and it has been going on for 3 years now, obviously. Because of United States assistance and the assistance from the European Union, including Germany and France and Spain and many, many other nations, the Ukrainians have managed to dig in there. But they are almost out of people. Now, Vladimir Putin is out of patience, and he has lost a tremendous amount of his military as well. But they're at something of a stalemate in terms of the actual conflict. So there has been no winner of the war. So then my question then becomes, if you desire peace and there has been no winner, do you not have to make concessions on both sides?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I would point out, too, and Solzhenitsyn talked about this a lot, too. The Russian people have been brutal to the Ukrainians throughout their history. Brutal to them. And I think that should be a little bit taken into consideration, too, whatever the deal is.
Well, no, I mean, but, when you talk about punishing the Russians, I don't, when you come to the table and you start figuring out how we're going to broker this peace, I imagine that the Russians are going to give back large sections of the Ukrainian territory that they have seized. I imagine they want to keep Crimea, which they've had since 2015, essentially. And, a lot of people are going to consider that a victory for Russia. I just want lasting peace without American military involvement. That's my goal.
I agree with that, too. I don't disagree with that at all. I'm just saying, sometimes when I hear Russia deserves some kind of punishment for this.
But
that's all I'm saying.
I understand, but I go back. I don't mean to drive the point home, but what exactly do you expect to get? Unless we go in militarily, how are we going to punish Russia?
Again, I don't know. Maybe it's part of the concessions of what they give back. Maybe it's some kind of monetary towards Ukraine. I don't know, but
I don't know either. I don't know either. I don't think you're going to get that without a military victory. And in order to achieve a military victory, we have to spill American blood on foreign soil. Europe's not going to do it. They're not going to get anywhere close to it. So what do? In the meantime, we spend money, and we have so many other pressing matters here at home. We have a $36 trillion debt. We have homeless veterans in our country. We've got a southern border that still needs securing, although we've gone a long way in just a short amount of time getting that done. We've got a lot of issues right here at home. I'm not suggesting we become totally isolationist, but I would suggest that maybe if some of my liberal buddies and liberal friends who seem so damn concerned about putting up the Ukrainian flag on their Facebook pages again, oh boy, have you seen them? I haven't because I'm blocked, but whatever. I hear about it. Oh, they're up and running. Ukrainian flags all over the Facebook, Ukrainian flags all over the Twitter, all over the X machine. What are you doing? Should we not focus here at home? We got people suffering right now, right here. You want all of our money to go over there. 23 after the hour on Super Talk. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. Let's talk for a moment about United Structural Systems. And in talking about USS, let's talk about your home. Are you confident that you are stable and dry? Are you confident that the concrete around your home is level and as was designed? You know, if you've had concrete leveling problems, USS provides concrete leveling through the Polylift system. I've seen this in action. I did it in Birmingham. Incredible. They pump a Polylift foam in the interior of your concrete. It lifts that concrete back up to where it used to be. It dries. You can walk on it immediately. You can drive on it, I believe, in less than an hour. And it is an incredible advancement in concrete leveling in that you don't have to rip all the concrete up. It saves you thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. USS, they are problem solvers when it comes to your foundation. They are problem solvers when it comes to your waterproofing, too. They have been keeping homes stable and dry since 1994. That is in excess of 30 years now and almost 30,000 customers strong. Give them a call, 615-488-7855, 488-7855, or go to USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only USS.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Learning brand new details about the deaths of Gene Hackman and his wife. And President Trump has another message for Volodymyr Zelenskyy. I've got that for you at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I've got another guy that's got a message for old Volodymyr Zelenskyy, and that's, good old Warhawk Lindsey Graham. Lindsey never met a fight that he didn't like. Here's what he had to
off
say.
to the White House soon. I had a call with President Trump last night. He invited me to the signing of the critical minerals deal between Ukraine and the United States. Met with President Zelenskyy this morning. He's very excited.
Oh, yeah.
This is $500 billion that will enormously benefit the American economy. Ukraine is the richest country in Europe when it comes to critical minerals. These minerals are necessary for us to compete and win the 21st century economy. President Trump was very excited. President Zelenskyy is very excited about this economic deal. $500 billion, folks, is a big deal.
That was 6 hours ago. He posted that 6 hours ago. And I reposted it just minutes ago because, boy, oh boy, life comes at you fast, doesn't it? Now, Lindsey Graham is saying that Donald Trump, he's never been prouder of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, is what Lindsey Graham said. And he's right. Donald Trump should have called him out. This was about a minerals deal. This was not about debating how bad of a guy Vladimir Putin was. It was to get us to peace. Donald Trump felt like he wasn't ready to get to peace. So and frankly, I'm baffled at the number of liberals. I thought liberals detested war. I thought our friends on the political left wanted peace, that peace was the answer. All we are saying is give peace a chance. Right? John Lennon, the bed in, him and Yoko, singing it away, baby. What are they saying now? All we are saying is give war a chance. What are you doing? If you talk about achieving peace, you're Putin's puppet. Well, then, are you ready to suit up? Let's grab a weapon and go. Because that's what it's going to take. Or let the master negotiator do his job. And he has reset Zelenskyy's attitude about it. I'll say that. Ed and Kelly and Sharon coming to you in just a moment. It's 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WT and a couple of local stories. I promised, Nashville boycott and the Brentwood stabbing. You heard the update at the top of the hour. Man, oh man, this gets more and more sad the more we hear about it. A man stabbing his mother in Brentwood and a neighbor having to shoot him dead, and mama asking about her son, who was the one that was stabbing her. That is brutal. More coming up on that at Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.5:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We're tracking the potential for severe weather early next week. We've got what's going to happen until then during the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. The Associated Press reporting President Trump wants, quote, an immediate ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, and he wants President Zelenskyy to make peace or lose support from the U.S. This follows that fiery exchange between President Trump, Vice President Vance, and Zelenskyy earlier today.
I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States, and your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty.
Trump ended up asking Zelenskyy to leave without a mineral deal as part of negotiations to end the war with Russia. Trump releasing a statement saying Zelenskyy can come back when he is ready for peace. We just got new information about the deaths of actor Gene Hackman and his wife and their dog, all of them found Wednesday in their New Mexico home. Hackman and his wife, according to the sheriff, their remains testing negative for carbon monoxide. Still, a cause and manner of death are pending. The sheriff says they had been dead for at least 10 days, but he says there were no signs of external trauma on either body. Here in Nashville, a first-of-its-kind partnership between Metro Police and WeGo aimed at making the bus system safer. Nashville now has a transit safety liaison that could lead to a dedicated transit police unit. Channel 4's Brendan Tierney.
The new transit funding is adding more officers here at the downtown WeGo station. And for the first time ever, mobile security officers across the entire WeGo system. There will be a major increase in the number of officers at the downtown bus station. And a new mobile patrol will ride on buses and check stops across Metro Nashville. The new partnership with Metro Police also looks to make passengers feel safer. And people we talked with are hopeful it'll have a big impact.
WeGo will use new data monitoring to determine where officers will focus each week and then add more staff during peak hours. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, we got a crash with the second right lane blocked. 65 northbound before Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. Then in Williamson County, 65 southbound at June Lake Boulevard. Highway Patrol reporting a crash there. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Friends, Savory Spice, their OG location is right in the heart of Franklin, right off the Franklin Square. If you've ever been and seen the big Grace Pharmacy sign, they're right next door. Go in and see the gang at Savory Spice. Holly, David, and the rest of the crew, they're so good at what they do. They provide you those delicious spices that make your food better. I like to say that if you're ready to up your food game, and so often we are, right, when you're coming up and you're in your early 20s or whatever, you're just eating what's cheapest. And then you come to a point where you're like, you know what, I want a slightly better cut of steak, or I want a better cut of meat, or I want, some salmon tonight, or I want some fresh veggies from the farmer's market. When you do all of that, you up your food game, but you only up your food game when you up your spice game. How's your spice game going? You got a bunch of clumpy spices in there that hadn't been moved in goodness knows how long. You got the seasonings that are right for you. You got the salts and the spices that are right for you. You need to get a Savory Spice because they've got the right kind of spice. Plus, ask them about their Spice and Easy line. You can buy gifts. I mean, there's a lot of things to do at Savory Spice. Go smell the smells at Savory Spice. Located in Franklin. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only Savory Spice. Super Talk 99.7 WTN coming up in just a moment or two. Nincompoops in the news. That is on the way. Plus, in the 6 o'clock hour, we will lighten the load, a heavy news day. We will lighten the load and visit with our friend Noah Peters. I say he's our friend. He's a great guy. He's one of the most fabulous people that I will ever have the honor of meeting and talking to on this radio station, on this radio show. That's coming up at just after 6 o'clock. I mean, he's a fabulous guy. Good man, great singing voice, called the Singing Barber. Why are you smiling? Why are you laughing?
You better kiss his butt.
I mean, why? It just sounds like a great guy. He's got a big following. He's going to be with us Tuesday night at the big event at Nashville Palace. He's going to be cutting my hair. And we're going to be nice to him. Right, Chris?
You are.
Y'all be nice. Y'all be nice. This guy, who knows? He might be cutting your hair one day. You never know.
I guess that's true.
That's true. So everybody's now talking. So 7333 speaks for all of us. Said, now's everybody's talking about Uranus. What does Uranus have to do with Putin?
Yeah!
Zingers!
That's the best.
That's a good one.
That's the best.
That's a good one.
We need an
7333.
anatomy lesson, apparently.
Yeah, well, I think Uranus has a lot. Anyway. And there's a lot of commentary on the Super Text line at 615-737-9986 about my singing.
You're singing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was singing a moment ago, remember?
Yeah. Said,
yeah.
Dang, Matt, I didn't know you couldn't sing.
I like how you did that.
I like how you did that, too. Well, and now you know. Patrick says, hey, Matt, don't quit your day job. Kathy, Matt, please don't sing again. There's a reason you're in talk radio. 2565. Who sings worse, Yoko or Matt?
Ooh, that cut deep.
Woo.
Man.
Yoko was pretty rough.
Terrible.
That's
like, what is she doing?
She's getting hit with a hose.
What was John thinking?
That is, well, I don't know. I don't think he was thinking.
I think he let the drugs do the thinking.
Yeah, that's probably a better way of putting it. I was thinking
Possibly.
about something else, but yeah, I don't think he was thinking very much. I don't think he was thinking with his
Brother
brain.
Murphy.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the appeal was, but I don't know that Yoko had that much to do with breaking up the Beatles. But that woman couldn't sing, I'll tell you that. And John kept letting her hang around.
Yeah.
It's
Nobody wants that.
No, but just get her out of here. And that was the best. That was a great Yoko. Can I get one more little?
That sounds exactly like it.
And does. And my singing doesn't sound so bad now, does it?
I mean, maybe she was a great wife, but I don't know, man. That's not singing.
No, I mean, it does. It really does. If you listen to what Yoko tried to do, that performance art or whatever, it really does sound like somebody was hitting her with a stick.
Yeah,
it's just awful.
It's terrible.
Gross.
Terrible.
Oh, y'all hang in there. We're going to get to you in a moment. Ed and Kelly and Sharon, I promised. But we do it every day at this time unless the host of this show forgets, in which case we don't do it. It's called Nincompoops in the News. Mm-hmm. Got a big local story for Nincompoops in the News today.
All right, Brother Murphy.
I do. And let's see. Who wants to go first? 1, 2, 3. It's Ken Weaver.
All right. This level of pettiness just doesn't make sense. The shocking reason an insecure wife tipped a waitress just 2 pennies.
What?
Wow. Don't call my husband sweetheart.
Oh, no.
Savannah, a married content creator, inked on a restaurant receipt, ordering that her server refrain from making the moves on her man. To underscore her message, the discontented diner paid her $40.21 dinner bill, added the measly 2 cents in gratuity out of sheer spite, rounding out her grand total to $40.23. Don't play with me, Savannah spat in the caption of her trending TikTok clip, which has soared up over 10.5 million views from mostly outraged onlookers. One of them said, "Oh, girl, get therapy. It's not that deep, sweetheart." Insecure and broke, another jabbed. But Savannah says, "It's my money ultimately. I can choose how I give it out. That's just the bottom line."
I like the sass you're adding.
I do too. That's just the bottom line.
So anyway, Savannah is my nincompoop in the news.
Come on, man.
Have you never eaten in public before? I mean, that's a normal thing for servers, especially female servers, to address people by honey or sweetie or whatever.
And let me tell you, in the South, it is a part of the glory of living in the South and growing up in the South is because you get an old school waitress that calls you sugar or honey.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I mean, and I don't. I mean, I've been around plenty of them, and I don't think we've ever spent a moment on it.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. This insecure lady. Come on. Yeah. She's an nincompoop, that's for sure.
Yeah,
but then she got 10 million or whatever clicks on her TikTok video, so she got exactly what she wanted out of it.
That's true. That's true.
So. Yeah. Mr. Weber?
All right, mine comes from New Jersey. State police in New Jersey went to the home of Scott Jamerson around 11 a.m. this past Thursday to serve a warrant charging him with violating a final restraining order.
Uh-oh.
Well, he was found in his detached garage and then promptly arrested. Police found an illegal lab in said garage as they arrested him for violating a restraining order. Inside the garage, police found what appeared to be a lab. A range of agencies secured and investigated the scene, including the FBI, hazmat teams, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. They didn't immediately specify what they found, but he was later charged with causing or risking widespread injury or damage, certain persons not to have weapons or ammunition, and possession of a controlled dangerous substance.
Don't mess with my Bunsen burner.
Obviously, he was taken to the jail and charged with violating the restraining order amongst these other charges he will now be facing. But that's kind of what happens when you're just a dumb criminal. You've already broken the law, and the police come to serve you with a warrant and find you breaking the law yet again.
He had a little lab.
Just a little lab.
Just a little something going on. Cooking a little something, probably?
Maybe
so. Yeah, that makes
it sounds like.
Well, that guy's a nincompoop too.
Yep.
And you are nincompoops. If you involved yourself with the Friday, February 28th economic blackout, and every single person that made any sort of buying decision today based on a one-day economic blackout, you, all of you, are nincompoops. If you don't know about it, the nationwide consumer boycott is today in response to big-name retailers rolling back their diversity, equity, and inclusion effort and President Donald J. Trump's effort to eliminate federal DEI programming. In an effort to combat, quote, corporate greed, people are encouraged to avoid shopping at all major retailers, purchasing gasoline, eating at fast food restaurants, using their credit or debit card. The movement is calling on people to shop and eat local instead and use cash. Well, what? I mean, that
makes a lot of sense.
That's even more nincompoopery than I thought I would get out of this story. People are said to be encouraged to avoid going to work if they can, which is, I've always loved these work boycotts because that is just an easy way for employers to identify who needs to get fired next.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would encourage that sort of behavior, actually, if I was a boss.
I don't go after businesses with boycotts. I've never used our platform that way. I don't believe in it. I do believe in alerting you as to information that might influence your buying habits or your buying decisions. That's as far as I go, right? I mean, we talked about the greatest example, the easiest example is Dylan Mulvaney and Bud Light, right? We talk about that, and you, the consumer, made a decision that apparently Bud Light didn't want your money anymore because they were doing things that you disagreed with, and so you stopped giving them your money. And they lost so much market share, they have yet to recover and repair all of that. That is not necessarily a boycott so much as it is mass consumers deciding, you don't want me? All right, we'll go somewhere else. I felt like a long time. There's been a laundry list of businesses that just didn't want me as a customer anymore. And if you don't want me as a customer, okay, I'll take my business elsewhere.
Yeah.
But daily boycotts, this idea that you can do business with someone yesterday and do business with them tomorrow, but if you don't do business with them today, that'll get them?
Yeah.
Well, you're showing them.
Yeah, baby.
You're a nincompoop is what you are. There's no better way of saying it. You understand that if you don't change your buying habits permanently, the business is not going to be permanently impacted. I mean, imagine, if you will, and I'm not saying this flippantly, I mean this. Imagine, if you will, in 1955 in Montgomery, Alabama, when the Reverend Martin Luther King and other city leaders in the black community came together and they said, we've got to do something about this ridiculous segregation in Montgomery, Alabama. And what we ought to do, we ride way too many buses to be put in the back of the bus in the manner that we are. And so I declare that on Friday, February 28th, the one day we're going to not ride the bus. We'll ride the bus on Saturday, and we'll ride the bus on Thursday, and we'll ride the bus next week. But we're not riding the bus on Friday. Boy, that would have got him.
Yes, it would, boy. Big change, big change.
You know, all this does to me, it tells me that maybe tonight's the night to go out to eat or to go to Target. I don't really go to Wally World that much, but hell, maybe tonight's my night.
Might be.
Or if not, then, tomorrow's another day.
I don't know. They'll be in there thick as thieves tomorrow because these people are nincompoops. That's how you play nincompoops.
Yes, sir.
In the news, you get your votes in. Ken Weaver, Chris Webber, Matt Murphy. I know where my vote's going. I almost declared, for the first time, I think, in Nincompoops in the News history, I almost declared one of us a nincompoop. Have I done that to Ken Weaver before?
Yes.
Oh. All right. Well, I was going to make it a twofer on the Uranus story.
What? You mean I can't see no. Oh, yeah, it's your Uranus. I guess maybe I am a nincompoop.
Why are you looking at his?
I don't think. If you want to see Uranus, look, if you want to look for Uranus, that's your own business.
You know what?
But if you start looking for mine.
Why does this remind me of if you want to get a good look at a T-bone?
Why did somebody name that planet Uranus?
It was a 13-year-old.
Was it a joke?
13-year-old male. Had to be. Had to be, right?
Surely there's something more to it. It's got to have a deeper meaning.
Here goes Weber's on the hunt. It reminds me, have you ever seen the Jim Gaffigan bit about the sperm whale?
No.
It's a great bit. Because he's like, what are they thinking? Because do they not realize that 13-year-old boys are going to be reading about this in biology or in science class? And, oh, look, it's the sperm whale.
Yeah. You probably had a couple of academics say, it appears to be what is in our microscope.
Yes. And if you look at the whale very closely, it appears to be a sperm.
It looks just like a sperm.
No surprise here. The name references the ancient Greek deity of the sky, Uranus.
Okay, but how did...
Oh, I don't know how the Greeks said it. I'm sure they probably said it differently.
Okay, so it was a kind of but yeah, I got it.
Zeus was drunk.
Okay, you know what we're going to call it? Hey, everybody.
Let's call her Uranus.
Hey, everybody. We're
Uranus.
From now on, we're calling George Uranus.
They said Uranus.
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 Well, Uranus. I'm not a nuss. You're a nuss.
Uranus.
That's how we play nincompoops in the news. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I apologize in advance to Ed and Kelly and Sharon who've had to hold through that. But your wait will be rewarded with free airtime coming up in just a moment on Super Talk. Someone just said, ask Ken Weaver about his coexist bumper sticker. I'll do that later. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I want to remind you folks, if you are thinking that you don't get the most out of your health insurance, if you are frustrated with your insurance and your coverage, if you don't know what you have, if you don't know how much you're paying, there are answers at your fingertips, friends, and those answers come in the form of Cover Nash and Shane Ring. Shane Ring at Cover Nash can tell you what you are paying, if you are overpaying, how much you're getting, what you're getting in your coverage. He can shop every coverage imaginable in the state of Tennessee. He has them at his fingertips. As a matter of fact, you can see them as well. Shane will sit down with you in his Brentwood office. That's right, Cover Nash. Of course they're local. They're called Cover Nash. And they know firsthand how much people overpay for health plans and procedures, and they think They have no choice, but it is not true. You do have a choice. Let Shane Ring get you a health plan that pays you, not the other way around. Take control of your money and your health coverage, managed by you, not by the government. Go to covernash.com. That's covernash.com, or give them a call at 615-465-0023. 465-0023 for Cover Nash. You know, moments ago, yours truly, Matt Murphy, was talking about Uranus. Now I'm here to tell you how stinky it is at most auto repair shops. That's right. Eurofix takes the stink out of auto repair. They take the stink out of auto repair shops. I don't know what they can do for certain planets, but I know this, that if you're smelling those greasy old rags lying around, if you're looking at a countertop that you wouldn't touch, Eurofix is your place to go for your European auto repair. They are honest. They will call you back. When they say they're going to call you back, they'll tell you your car's ready. And when they tell you your car's ready, your car's actually ready. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Eurofix. They take the stink out of European auto repair. At Eurofix, you get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection, no high-pressure sales tactics. You get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car when you do business with Eurofix. They have a location in Murfreesboro, 100 Oaks, Belmead, Franklin, and now Mount Juliet. 844-EUROFIX. That's 844-EUROFIX. Or go to myEurofix.com. Tell them you want them to take the stink out of European auto repair with Eurofix.
President Trump says he wants an immediate ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. We have brand new details about the deaths of actor Gene Hackman and his wife, and the Pope has a setback in his recovery. That's all coming up at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, Ken Weaver, as promised, I'm getting to as many calls as I possibly can. A lot of patient folks, and I appreciate all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Kelly is next. Hey, Kelly, how are you?
I'm good. Hi, Matt.
Hello, Kelly.
I took a different take on what Zelensky was saying about the ocean and about what we would be feeling? I think his experience with Putin breaking so many treaties or agreements means that Putin is not to be trusted, and that even though we have a big ocean between Europe and us, that he may come after us someday.
Well, he might give it a go. But based on his, and I don't disagree that maybe that's the way that Vladimir Zelensky meant it. And Kelly, I mean, it's a perfectly legitimate statement to make, and I would think that it would have been taken quite differently if it was made behind closed doors, but it was not. It was made in front of the media after an insistence that diplomacy doesn't mean anything. Well, obviously, they were there to sign a rare earth minerals agreement. Secondarily, they were there to talk about a level of diplomacy necessary in order to stop the killing and stop the war. Instead, Vladimir Zelensky wanted to turn it back on the United States, telling us what we had at stake in all of this. And Donald Trump was having none of it. We are in the power position here. We are the superpower around the globe, and we're not going to be treated as anything other than that. Ed is next in Franklin. Ed, what do you got? I've only got about a minute, but it's yours, friend.
All right. Thanks, Matt. That's all I need. You might have forgotten that Trump used to take his jacket off when he had a little part-time job when he worked at McDonald's and then when he was a trash collector. So I just That's true.
But, you know, in my defense, he was not in the Oval Office when he took that jacket off, but he did. He disrobed and put on that McDonald's apron. It was a sad day in that McDonald's when old Trumpy Trump had to turn in his resignation. You know, I'm sorry. I got my old job back. I got to go back. Where's your old job? It's out of town. It's in D.C. I gotta pack up and head to the house. We'll head to the house after another hour of talk radio on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The singing barber, Noah Peters, is coming up. Stand by.
Six o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and we're tracking the potential for severe weather early next week, but looks like it's going to be dry this weekend. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. The Associated Press is reporting President Trump wants an immediate ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, and he wants President Zelensky to make peace or lose support from the U.S.
They should have an immediate ceasefire. That was the other thing he didn't want to do about ceasefire. A ceasefire could take place immediately. A contract, if you want to end the war, you sign up an agreement. That's going to take a period of time. It takes time. I want it to end immediately.
Now, this follows a fiery exchange between Trump, Vice President Vance, and Zelensky in the Oval Office earlier today.
I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States, and your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty.
Trump ended up asking Zelensky to leave without a mineral deal, and as part of negotiations to end the war with Russia, President Trump releasing a statement saying Zelensky can come back when he's ready for peace. New details in the investigation into the death of Oscar-winning actor Gene Hackman, his wife, and their dog, all found dead in their New Mexico home this week. Here's Alex Stone.
Toward their deaths possibly being from carbon monoxide. Gene Hackman, his wife, and their dog all found dead in the home with no sign of injury. But Santa Fe County Sheriff Adon Mendoza says expedited tests show
both individuals tested negative for carbon monoxide.
Gene Hackman's pacemaker shows the last activity was on February 17th, nearly 2 weeks ago. The sheriff says they believe that was his last day alive.
And at the Vatican, a setback for 88-year-old Pope Francis as he remains hospitalized for pneumonia. Here's Terry Moran from Rome.
This morning he was continuing respiratory physiotherapy. He was, improving the quality of his lung function is the aim of that. But then he had this coughing fit leading to the vomit, and then that ended up in an emergency situation. A crisis is what they're calling it. They are not, however, saying that his condition has been downgraded back to critical, which is what it was last week. They say it's still guarded and they need to watch them very closely, especially over the past 24 to 48 hours.
And here in Nashville, Metro Police teaming up with WeGo for a first-of-its-kind transit safety liaison aimed at making the bus system safer. This writer tells Channel 4 he's hopeful.
Get more security and just try to be more safe when you ride the bus, because, anything can happen. Because a lot of people ride the bus, homeless people ride the bus. They may have a gun. They may get mad and may start shooting up everything. So it's all about safety.
So new transit funding, about $6 million, will add more officers to the downtown bus station, and then a new mobile patrol will now ride on buses. All of that set to start in April. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Got a crash on the right shoulder, 65 northbound before Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. The stop-and-go traffic starts at Due West Avenue overpass. Williamson County, June Lake, a crash, 65 southbound at June Lake Boulevard, exit 55. And then an accident, right lane block, 24 eastbound at Murfreesboro Pike. Then in Laverne, 24 eastbound at Waldron Road. Debris on the side of the road, and it's blocking the left lane. Good old 24. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Here we are, finally, the last hour of the week. What's going on, friends? My name is Matt Murphy. This is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Still plenty to do in this final hour. I promised you an update on the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. That's coming up at some point. Very a sad story out of Brentwood with this stabbing, and we're finding out additional details regarding the stabbing, and apparently this was the son of the woman that was being stabbed. 26 years old, by the name of Julian Porter, and it gets even worse. We'll hold off on that for just a moment. And several of you are commenting on the status of Uranus. Thank you to Ken Weaver for reporting on that story so that we could have that 13-year-old juvenile comedy at our fingertips for the last hour of the show.
Looks like it's still back there.
Yeah, well, it does. And there's a caravan coming to Uranus. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Uranus is part of a caravan that's coming to all of us.
Let me check the telescope.
By the way, our good friend Sean Farish, who is a local, Sean, y'all might know Sean. He's online at Sean _ Farish on the X machine. But he does a great Trump impersonation. We've had him on the show in the past. He had a great, I want to give him a hat tip because this is perfect. He wants to know, did anybody give Zelenskyy an Epstein binder on his way out of the White House?
Maybe a MAGA hat.
A MAGA hat. No, that was a big time, man. The spat was not good with Volodymyr Zelenskyy, but we'll put that on the back burner. We've got big things going on next week at the Nashville Palace. So y'all know that for a long time now, as a matter of fact, I can tell you the exact number of days. 363 days I have been growing out my hair. I announced last March that I was not cutting my hair until we had a new president-elect of the United States of America. And I did that when Joe Biden could have very well and very easily won re-election. Well, Joe Biden eventually left, and some folks said, Murphy, you can cut your hair now because you'll have either Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. And I said, no, I'm going until November 5th. And I felt so good about the results of the election, I said, I'm going all the way to Inauguration Day. And I felt so good about that, I didn't know what to do with myself, and I did not know who would cut my hair. Well, now, on March 4th, just over a year after I started growing it out, my hair will be cut at the Nashville Palace. It is a part of our big evening with Super Talk 99.7 WTN event. It will include Dan Mandis, Chad Benson, Chris Hand, Brian Wilson, all of whom either are bald or have very short haircuts. Speaking of bald, Ken Weaver will be there. Speaking of shorter hair, Chris Webber will be there. Joan Jones will be there. I will be there, and I think I have the longest hair on staff.
I'm not bald. I've got a Uranus, but I'm not bald.
That's true. You're not. I just wanted to see.
No, never mind.
I just wanted to see if you were listening. Now, Mandis, he's bald. So where was I? Oh, I think Joan might have me beat in the hair length category.
A little bit, yeah. Pretty similar,
so. It is pretty similar, and it's pretty good length. Well, we looked far and wide to find the right person to do the job, and I believe we found that person, and I believe he joins us on the Matt Murphy Show this evening. His name is Noah Peters, better known as the Singing Barber, and he's on the Matt Murphy Show tonight. Mr. Noah, how are you, sir?
Matt, I have been sitting on my hands all day to keep from clapping about it. I am so glad to be on this thing with you all, and I can't wait to get there.
Man, I can't wait to have you. You are all over the joint. And listen, I just became aware of you and familiar with you, but man, I don't like this fan base you've got, Noah, because we might fill the place, and if we fill the place, the buzzer clippers come out, right?
Yes, and I am here to tell you, you better be nervous, Matt, because I believe it's going to happen.
Noah, tell us a little bit of, you've been everywhere, man. You've been on the American Idol. You've been on I Can See Your Voice. Just give folks a little bit of your background.
Yeah, so I grew up in the country. I am from Kentucky, and I live in Tennessee now, and I pretty much just like to make friends with people and be nice to people. So I just sing a little and cut a little, and people just show up from all over the world to come sing in my shop.
Did you start singing first, or did you start cutting hair first?
Well, Mom said that I hummed before I could talk, so I believe I started singing first, but I wasn't there I don't really remember it. So.
Oh, okay. And how long have you been cutting hair?
I've been cutting hair over 10 years.
And do you have a shop? Tell everybody. Where do you cut? Are you just going all over the country now, or what? How are you doing that?
Yeah, so I travel all over and cut all kinds of people, but my main shop, my home base is in Benton, Tennessee, middle of nowhere, right on the Georgia line.
Oh man! Well, no, I know Benton. I know your area or neck of the woods well. I go through there to visit family sometimes. I got folks back in Georgia, and so I'm well aware of where you are. So, what inspired you? Did your customers inspire you to take this to television? Because you've been on so many different. Talk to us about the television experience.
Yeah, so I have always been against television and social media until I had to have it. And so I learned that people, for some reason, just like to watch people have a good time. So what we started doing, we just started singing in the shop, and people recorded it on their phones. And then it blew up, Matt. And ever since, that's about all I do with my life. I just sing and walk around that barber chair.
What is your, do you have a particular genre that you prefer over others?
Yeah, I grew up real country, but I love them all. But I think country is probably my main genre.
Are we an old school guy, Noah, or we do a little bit of everything? Give me like a sample of what you might throw out Tuesday night at the Nashville Palace.
Yeah, huh? Kentucky Bluebird. You know that one, Matt?
I don't. Let's go.
Kentucky Bluebird. Keith Whitley now. Come on.
Now see, I know Keith. That's pretty. That's old school, baby.
So Kentucky boy too.
I love that.
Yeah,
Absolutely
I'm so excited to meet y'all, man. It's gonna be so fun.
We're gonna have an absolutely fabulous time. I can't wait. I don't want over 700 people to be there though, because I like, I run my mouth for a living, Noah, and sometimes I just shoot off my mouth before my brain goes into action. And I did that when I said, you know what, if we fill this joint at Nashville Palace, which is a pretty big place. Have you ever been to Nashville Palace?
I haven't. This will be my first time, and I am super pumped.
Well, it's old. I mean, it's old school. It's got that big old floor for line dancing, and it's an old school joint right across the street from the Gaylord Opryland Hotel, right down the way from the Grand Ole Opry House. And I asked my producer, Chris Weber, to look up the capacity, and it's 725 official. And I said, well, if we get that many folks, I won't just cut my hair. I'll get a buzz cut.
Buzz cut.
Yeah, and see now, and then your man Michael contacted me and said, "Hey, Noah Peters might be willing to cut your hair, the singing barber." And I said, "I'm all in," and I looked you up online. And after I had said this, I agreed to all of this. I'm just telling everybody the story. I agreed to all of this, and then I looked Noah up online. Do y'all know how many followers Noah Peters has online?
Just a few?
Yeah, just a couple million. That's all.
All right.
And that's just on the TikTok. He's got another 700,000 on Instagram.
Yes, sir.
Noah, you're making me a little nervous.
It makes me nervous to have that many followers.
Oh, could you ever imagine that when you were cutting hair back in the day that you would have almost 3 million people total following you on social media?
Yeah, it scares me to death. Being a mountain kid, we're not used to all this, so it still blows my mind every day that people know my name.
That's awesome. Did you would you consider your experiences on television? I mean, did you come away with them in a positive way? Were they positive experiences for you?
I've heard a lot of positive and negative from people, but I got lucky, Matt. Both shows were just phenomenal, and the friends and the connections I made were just out of this world. I loved it.
Well, I absolutely am. I love what you're doing. I love watching your videos. They're so awesome. People, y'all need to go see him. He's the Singing Barber on Instagram. I'm not on the TikTok anymore. What are you on the TikTok, Noah?
The Singing Barber on TikTok.
There you go.
Across all platforms.
There you go. You can find him on either of those platforms, and you'll see him Tuesday night at the Nashville Palace. Doors open at 6 o'clock. Well, they officially open at 3, but Noah will be there. So what can I anticipate on the night in question, Noah? What are we talking about?
Well, a lot of people are probably going to call you Samson and me Delilah because your hair is coming off, Matt. We're going to have it's going to be awesome.
See, originally, this is making me incredibly nervous because I was hoping originally Noah couldn't get off the road in time, but we were going to have Noah up in Nashville and we were going to sit in the studio together. And I thought maybe, off air, away from all of these microphones, I could say, okay, Noah, what can you do with my hair? But, I mean, he's coming into this sight unseen now, and it makes me very queasy.
You and me both, brother.
Should I wash it?
No, please don't wash it. I ain't used to all that now. I'm not as fancy as I.
So you just come as you are. Just you'll figure it out. You'll wet it down.
Pour up some spit on them clippers, and we'll go at it.
All right, man. Well, listen, Noah, I can't wait. Tuesday night, I invite people to go get tickets at 997WTN.com. I want you to bring a lot of your fans, about 720 of them, okay?
We'll do it. We'll do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother, and we appreciate you. There's Noah Peters. He's the Singing Barber. He's going to be with us at the Nashville Palace March 4th. That is this coming Tuesday night. I've been growing out my hair for 363 days, and we're going to get it cut off. My commitment has been this. If we get to capacity in this facility, I'm getting a buzz cut. Currently, we have a few tickets to sell. I'll just say it that way. A lot of y'all are coming in the hundreds, but we have hundreds more to go. That's all I'm going to say.
Let's get them.
And it's still at the Grand Council as to whether or not employees count because
they count. They definitely count.
Oh, are you a part of the Grand Council now?
Well, I'm the chairman.
All right. Folks need to tell me these things before I appeal to the
It's on a need-to-know basis, man.
Grand Council, I suppose so.
We might have to grab a bunch of tourists and bring them into the building.
Don't you go over there to Cooters and start soliciting. It still wears me out that the Cooters is still around. I love it. Absolutely love it. Oh,
it's
yeah.
Great. It's a landmark.
No doubt. It's Cooters. And I think it's Willie Nelson and Friends right next door.
I think so, yeah.
And then on the other side is the Edwin Watts. I've been to that golf shop for a little bit. And then right there is the Nashville Palace.
That's right.
It's across the street from the Gaylord Opryland Hotel. Y'all come and see us. In all seriousness, we'll have a great time. All of this is about the State of the Union address that's happening at 8 o'clock that night. Donald Trump will present his address to the nation and to all of us assembled at the Nashville Palace. But more important, it is our first opportunity to get together since Donald Trump won election. I mean, we have not done an event like this, with the holidays and everything. We've not had an event like this since November 5th when we were out at the Wilson County Fairgrounds. So it will be Dan Mandis, Joan Jones, yours truly, Matt Murphy, Chris Hand, Chad Benson. Brian Wilson is making a return to the airwaves on the night. Plus, in addition, Ken Weaver will be doing news live and in person that evening. It's a first. Ken Weaver on location doing his news broadcast. Chris Webber will be there as well, presenting the talk television side of things. And so we're all very excited. And I hope that you are there, if for no other reason to watch me get my hair shorn like a sheep.
Shorn? Excellent.
I mean, here's the way I look at it. A lot of people have asked me about this. Said, are you really going to get a buzz cut? And I was like, look, I have a lot of outs. I mean, a lot of them at my fingertips. I have outs aplenty. But I don't have a hair on Uranus if I didn't make good on this.
That's true.
And so if we fill the joint and some official fire marshal in some official capacity tells me nobody else can come in, well, there you go.
It'll all come off.
Otherwise, we're just getting a snip here and a snip there.
That'll be disappointing.
No, it's all good. You know what I think I'm going for? I don't mean to sound like too much of a girly man here, but I think I'm going for the dude in The Big Lebowski. I think that's what I'm going for.
I mean, you already got that.
I think you got to make it look intentional. You think that's what I'm doing now?
I don't know what you're doing now.
That's neither do I, really. Oftentimes I remind myself of, if you've ever seen Heath Ledger's Joker in whatever Batman movie that was.
Yeah, that was a good one.
My favorite line in that movie is when somebody says something to him and he looks and he says, "Do I look like a guy that has a plan?"
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm not a guy that has a plan. But you should plan to be with us, Nashville Palace, March 4th. It will be a lot of fun. Tickets available at 997WTN.com. Occasionally, like the commercial says, I'm asked, Murphy, how do you sleep at night? And I say I sleep very well, but my sleep is a direct result of Dr. Stephen Poss and Dr. Brian McLaughlin and the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. They are so good. I did not know that I had sleep apnea until I talked to Dr. Poss about it. And he said, Murphy, what you're describing to me, because I told him I couldn't sleep well and I was waking up in the night, and he said, well, do you snore? And I said, no, not a lot. I'm told that I don't snore a lot. And he said, well, I think you might have sleep apnea. And, 25% of sleep apnea patients don't really have significant snoring issues. Well, lo and behold, I took a sleep test and I have sleep apnea. Mild to moderate sleep apnea. It has been solved thank you to the FDA-approved oral device that gently supports your jaw, helps you breathe better, snore less if you do snore, and you don't have to worry about hoses, you don't have to worry about masks, you don't have to worry about CPAP machines. That's what it's all about. Now, this is in-network with your insurance. So if you have United Healthcare, Cigna, Aetna, BCBS, Medicare, TRICARE for the military, it covers this. That is a welcome relief to many of you and to many of your wallets. So go to drposs.com. That's drpos.com for the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. Sleep better knowing that you're breathing well with the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center.
President Trump says he wants an immediate ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. We've got this story, others, and the day's closing money news at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, it occurs to me, and that's the right call by the President of the United States, by the way. It's time for an immediate ceasefire. You know what? Russia needs to put down their weapons. Ukraine needs to put down their weapons. The Ukrainians cannot win this without the material and military support of the United States of America. So what are we even doing? I mean, if we recognize that that is not possible, we need to bring them to the table of discussion, to a table of understanding. And, you know, the moment that, and by the way, I should note, this meeting with Volodymyr Zelenskyy and J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio and others, along with the President of the United States, it was about 40 minutes long. It was only the last 10 minutes that went crazy. But Volodymyr Zelenskyy, if you watch or look at the transcript of the entire meeting, he was being obstinate the entire time. And he was saying things that just were patently untrue or were not being negotiated in good faith. Particularly, it was impossible to negotiate them in front of the media. And so if Volodymyr Zelenskyy is willing to say things that aren't true or that he could not possibly say definitively, like he was saying, like, we're not going to talk to Russia about this or we're not going to do that. Well, at some point, you're like, what are you doing? Diplomacy here matters. And that's when he went off on diplomacy. Doesn't matter because Russia, they're a bunch of liars. And look, the United States is trying to be as best we can, and we understand what Vladimir Putin is. We understand who started the war. But in order to facilitate a peace, we have to be as neutral as we can in bringing the parties to the table. That's just a fact. Do y'all want peace or do you want war? Do you want people to continue to die or not? Do you want American blood and American money going toward this conflict or not? Hello, Sharon. I'm glad you called and I'm glad you waited. The floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. And I'm glad you're taking my call. And I'm sorry if I put a damper on such a beautiful, fantastic show tonight. But I have to say I am so pleased that Trump today talked about the Russian dossier. Because, see, people don't relate that dossier to Putin and what he has been through for the past several years. Now, I know Putin is not popular. People don't like him. But what the Democrats have done, they have lied. They have put lies on top of lies against Putin to get at Trump. And nobody talks about that. But now, Putin, Biden never spoke to Putin. They were not in communication. Biden did not build a road to communication and peace. But what the Democratic Party did was dog Putin, build animosity, hate upon hate. And nobody talks about that, but Trump did today, and I'm very grateful that I'm not the only one that recognized that the Democratic Party separated Russia from the United States drastically. And who knows if that separation had anything to do with what's going on with Zelenskyy. I don't know. You'll have to put that together or dog it down. I'm just grateful that our president brought it up because Putin was really dogged. And I know people don't like him, but I don't blame Putin for being angry, for taking steps that he shouldn't have taken with Ukraine. But I think he didn't give a damn anymore.
Well, both things can be. Well, here's the reality. And Sharon, thank you for the call. I got to scoot to the news, but here's the reality: both things can be true at the same time. Vladimir Putin saw weakness in Joe Biden and thought that he could get away with taking Ukraine. He also thought that taking Ukraine would be a 2-month proposition, and it was not. He thought that he could get away with it. He thought that he could take advantage of it in the same way that he took advantage of Crimea and Barack Obama in 2014. Well, he could not, and he did not. At the same time, Vladimir Putin is a tyrant. He is a dictator. He kills people for sport. He does not allow basic freedoms to exist in this country, and he's an evil man. Both things can be true. Got to run to the news. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
We are tracking the potential for severe weather early next week, but it's going to be dry this weekend. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. President Trump says he wants an immediate ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, and he wants President Zelenskyy to make peace or lose support from the U.S. This follows that fiery exchange between Trump, Vice President Vance, and Zelenskyy in the Oval Office earlier today.
You don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
President Trump releasing a statement saying Zelenskyy can come back when he is ready for peace. New information about the deaths of actor Gene Hackman and his wife and their dog, all of them found Wednesday in their New Mexico home. Hackman and his wife, their remains testing negative for carbon monoxide. A cause and manner of death still pending. Also, the sheriff says that Hackman had been dead for at least 10 days. Money News, Michelle Franzen.
Major market indexes rebounded at the end of a rocky week, ending Wall Street's worst month since April. The Dow was up 601 points at closing. The S&P rose 93 points and the Nasdaq gained 303 points. Asian stock indexes tumbled amid worries about the Trump administration's proposed tariffs on imports to the U.S. New data shows inflation eased over last month, but numbers show consumers slashed their spending by the most since February 2021. Tropicana Brands Group is facing citrus shortages after hurricanes in Florida. The company has seen sales decline in recent years. The Department of Agriculture expects this year's orange production to be the lowest in 88 years. Microsoft is closing down Skype. The company bought the video calling service in 2011 for $8.5 billion. The tech giant says it will retire Skype in May and shift some services to Microsoft Teams.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Whites Creek got a crash reported by police 24 eastbound right before Old Hickory Boulevard. Franklin, a crash 65 southbound after Paytonsville Road, Goose Creek Bypass, exit 61. In Murfreesboro, we've got a crash. The left 2 lanes blocked, 24 westbound right before Joe B. Jackson Parkway. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, all of you sending me the meme of Jim Carrey and Dumb and Dumber getting his hair cut with the bowl.
That'd be good.
That's funny. Y'all are funny.
That's a look. I mean,
It's a look.
You got to be bold to pull that off.
Bold. Get it? Bold. That's something. Matt, what the hell is up with all the ads defending glyphosate? I have no idea. I have not heard any of those ads.
Check cleared.
Yes, the check did clear. Trucker John says less Heath Ledger and more Oliver Platt. I don't know what that means, but sure. 8949 says, Matt, you need to buy a wig before Tuesday just in case you get the buzz cut. Keith says maybe you can get Dolly to do that snip. Look, if Dolly Parton showed up to the Nashville Palace, I don't care if there's not a single other person in the county, I would get a buzz cut.
She could give you whatever kind of cut she wanted to.
Any kind of cut she wanted.
Yeah.
That is the love and affection that I have for DP. I call her DP.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone reference
her
DP that way.
Dolly Parton.
I got you.
Dolly Parton, DP. Mm-hmm. You've heard her called DD.
Well, I've never been privy to knowing that much about it.
You know, I used to say that I know for a fact that there are no topless photos of Dolly Parton on the internet.
Yeah?
You know how?
No.
I've looked.
Fair enough.
All of it? Yes, all of it. I hate to turn our attention, but I promise this story. This is just, I don't know what to do with it, except to say that at some point when time has healed a little bit of this, this man deserves some sort of honor or award. Out of Brentwood, Tennessee, earlier this week, we've heard about this stabbing suspect who was shot by an intervening neighbor in Brentwood. That suspect has died. The individual was 26 years of age, a man by the name of Julian Porter, who apparently had very severe mental issues, died at Vanderbilt University Medical Center Wednesday afternoon. According to Brentwood officials, at about 1:15 in the afternoon, police officers were called to Lost Hollow Drive after neighbors heard a woman screaming for help. According to a Brentwood police release, officers found the woman stabbed multiple times from the fight that had started inside of her home. Police say multiple witnesses saw the man stabbing the woman in the street. The reports indicated that a neighbor at some point tried to intervene, and he was unable to stop the man from attacking the woman. The neighbor then pulled a gun from his possession and shot Porter multiple times. According to a nanny who was in the vicinity, a woman by the name of Tiffany Team, she was getting ready to head to the bus stop to pick up her family's kids when she started getting notifications about the police activity. She said in the 12 years she's worked in the area, nothing like this has happened. This is a very nice part of, it's been Brentwood, and obviously in some places you expect more criminal activity, in some places less, and obviously this is not a place that you would expect this sort of activity. Medics took the woman to Vanderbilt University Medical Center, where police say she is going to survive. She's expected to survive. Obviously, neighbors are thankful that the man stepped in. We are now learning that the woman who was being stabbed was the mother of 26-year-old Julian Porter. And as Ken Weaver reported to you earlier tonight, sad to say that when the woman was being transported, or when she was being loaded into the ambulance to be transported to Vanderbilt University Medical Center, she indicated that she was concerned about her son and wanted to know if her son was still alive. It's just a very, very sad story. Apparently, we'll find out more, but according to reports, multiple reports, both television and elsewhere, the individual had some sort of mental health issues and had a mental crisis and attempted to kill his own mother. There has not been a report that I have seen indicating the identity of the individual that shot and killed 26-year-old Julian Porter. By all accounts, this was obviously not something that this individual wanted to do. God bless this person. I don't know that this person has been identified as a he or a she, a male or a female. Oh, no, I guess in the story it says he, so it's a man who, A, chose to arm himself, B, understood when it would be necessary to use a firearm to protect the life of someone else or to protect your own life, and C, and most importantly, was willing and able to do so. I have never, thank God, I keep and I carry. I conceal carry more times than not. And I'm not saying this for any other reason than it is true. More often than not, if you see me out and about, I have a gun. And it's not because I'm fearful of anything. It's because that is the ultimate line of self-defense. It's the ultimate ability that one has to defend the life of others, of innocent people who are being assaulted and whose rights are being attacked in some form or fashion, whose lives are being threatened. I've never come into a situation where I've had to decide whether or not it was time to pull my weapon, to arm myself in a fashion to defend myself. One would hope that your training and your life experience would kick in and that God would give you the ability to know what to do. In this case, God gave this man the ability to understand what to do in this time of crisis. It's clearly not something he wanted to do, but he managed to do it. He's a hero. He saved this woman's life, and he should be treated as such. 645, 9303 says, Matt, have you heard from Mr. Jimmy lately? I did. We heard from Mr. Jimmy just a couple of days ago. This week we heard from him. I invited him over to the Nashville Palace event where he could see Matt Murphy get his hair cut off, and he said that he did not have a ride. He would like to go. Mr. Jimmy is not as mobile as he used to be, but if Mr. Jimmy's listening, God bless you, Mr. Jimmy. We absolutely love it. 9832 says, stay strapped or get clapped. It's a cold world. That's exactly right. Many of you are referring to DP, and some of you nasty people are suggesting that it means something other than Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton is her name. DP are her initials, and I've called her that on occasion, and I will continue to do. I mean, like you would call me Double M, or I would call Chris Webber CW. It's DP.
I thought DP was Dr. Pepper.
Well, it could be. Love a good Dr. Pepper. Oh, my goodness gracious. So good. So to all of the rest of you, y'all got nasty minds, and y'all need to clean it up. In the meantime, in a moment, we're going to reflect on the Nashville boycott and how it went today. We'll do that in just a moment, plus the latest on Gene Hackman before we go. Gene Hackman died this week at the age of 95 along with his wife, and it is becoming increasingly obvious that, Randy Quaid, by the way, weighed in on this. Have you seen Randy Quaid's comments on this? Randy Quaid had alerted everyone, wants everyone to know, and he did this early in the process yesterday, hours after Gene Hackman was found dead in his home along with his wife and one of his dogs. Randy Quaid wants you to know that Gene Hackman was murdered. Mm-hmm. Which is on brand.
Thanks, Randy.
Yeah, on brand for Randy Quaid. Randy Quaid, former actor. I don't think he's been in much of late. He is a little bit off of his nut, and he has decided that it is no doubt that because of all of the royalties that existed for Gene Hackman, that Gene Hackman was put down. To which I say, if somebody was waiting on royalties and they had an inside track into the royalties, why wouldn't they just wait like a minute?
Couldn't have been too much longer. I mean, no offense.
No offense. But Gene Hackman had not been seen out of doors for almost a year. I mean, the last time he and his wife were seen publicly together was almost a year ago at a restaurant in Santa Fe. I don't understand exactly where Randy Quaid is coming from, but, sad to say he said crazier things. 48 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Friends, it can be hard to make a decision as to whether to repair or replace your AC unit. Now, if you put it off last year, let's talk frank for a minute, okay? Because I tell you that, somebody like Jeff Eddy in Efficient Heating and Cooling, or more specifically, Jeff Eddy in Efficient Heating and Cooling, they can stave off those repairs that you need for your heater, for example, until the upcoming year. Well, if you did that last year with your AC, now it's time to make the decisions. What to do? Do you repair it? Do you replace it? Well, Jeff Eddy's going to be here for you, and he's going to tell you the straight dope, if you will, about exactly what is needed with your AC. First step is to get the thing maintenanced. You need to maintenance your AC unit before you begin using it in earnest. And that's never going to cost you over $125 with Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. It's just that simple. Oftentimes, it's much less than that, but never over $125, even if you have multiple units on the same residential property. Secondarily, they offer you an Elite Pro partnership with Rheem, meaning that they can find you the right unit for you if it is time to replace. Find out more by going to efficienthvac.net, efficienthvac.net, or give them a call at 615-784-4424, 784-4424. It's Efficient Heating and Cooling. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Andy writes in and says, don't discount Randy Quaid so fast, Murphy. Sally says, I heard Randy got his information from Gary Busey. What about sausage? What about hot? Have you seen that one?
Buttered sausage.
What about butter sausage? You like butter sausage? I like butter sausage. Let's talk about butter sausage.
You know, that wasn't real. That was fake. Did you know that?
That he was messing around?
No, it was one of those AI creations.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yes, it was. It was. Yeah, he never talked about buttered sausage, apparently.
I just assumed that he was trying to be a jerk. Like, it was his way of saying he didn't, but, because people ask him, oh, tell us about the time you played Bear Bryant. Tell us about the time you played Buddy Holly. And
yeah,
he didn't want to talk about that. He said, I don't want to talk about that. Let's talk about butter sausage.
Yeah.
That's fake.
What's funny? Yeah, it's funny because no one questioned it.
I mean,
everyone thought, yeah, that's Gary Busey. He's a nut.
He's insane. He is pretty insane. I thought it was real. I got duped. Don't discount Randy Quaid. No, well, look. I'm not suggesting I know at all what happened, and I don't think that the Santa Fe Sheriff's Office is necessarily telling us everything that they know. According to a search warrant affidavit, an orange prescription bottle was found near Hackman's wife. It was open, and pills were scattered on the countertop. When asked whether the prescription bottles could be related to the death of Hackman and or his wife and or their dog, Santa Fe County Sheriff Adon Mendoza told the Today Show this morning, it's obviously very important evidence at the scene. The information was collected, passed on to the medical investigator to help them make a determination. Of course, we're looking at that specifically and other medications possibly in the residence that is something of concern. Sheriff Mendoza, along with Fire Chief Brian Moya, shared more information about the investigation, indicating that Hackman and Arakawa, I think that's right, Arakawa, were dead for 10 days. So they did an examination. Gene Hackman had a pacemaker, and the pacemaker last had activity on February the 17th. So Gene Hackman's pacemaker was operational until February 17th. Obviously, that was 10 days before he was found dead, so almost 2 weeks. I told y'all my theory last night, and I don't know anything other than what y'all know. Dan says Quaid is a canary in a coal mine. Look, is it possible that Gene Hackman and his wife were robbed and the scene was staged? Yeah. I mean, of course. Sometimes Occam's razor comes to mind when I'm dealing with these deals. I mean, oftentimes the simplest explanation is the best. Gene Hackman was 95 years old. Gene Hackman was not going to live very much longer. It looked as if, according to the initial reports, that Hackman was coming into his mudroom. There was an exterior door that was partially opened. Well, my speculation remains that Gene Hackman had a fall or Gene Hackman had a cardiac event. Something happened and he died. Whether it was a fall or I speculate that he had a cardiac arrest. He had a heart attack and died. Maybe he was just coming back in from outside. And I believe that his wife was distraught over this and that she took her own life. I don't know that that's the case. And, oh, by the way, do not do that. Obviously, if you're feeling signs of depression or, God forbid, suicide, there are help and options available for you. I am compelled to say that when we talk about those sorts of things, but that's just where I'm at on it. That's what I think happened. I know that there's a lot of rampant speculation regarding what could have happened, what didn't happen. Hopefully we'll find out together. The Department of Defense is giving the military branches 30 days to identify service members who identify as transgender. You know why? In order to tell them thank you and goodbye. Pentagon senior leadership were notified Wednesday that they must begin setting up mechanisms to find troops with gender dysphoria by March 26th and comply with the president's order barring gender identifying, or transgender, I should say, identifying people from the military. The medical, surgical, and mental health constraints on individuals who have a current diagnosis or history of or exhibit symptoms consistent with gender dysphoria are incompatible with the high mental and physical standards necessary for military service, according to Defense Undersecretary Darren Selnick. The Pentagon's memo became public as a part of litigation challenging the executive action. Plaintiffs in the case have argued that the Trump directive is openly hostile to transgender-identifying people. Here's the deal. No, it's not. It's pretty clear. If you have this in front of you, if you have an issue, if you identify as transgender or if you are gender dysphoric, God bless you. More power to you. We don't hate on you. You just can't serve in the military. We don't let blind people operate Air Force jets, do we? What? Oh, am I being insensitive? I'm not trying to be insensitive. I'm trying to be realistic. It is detrimental to the operation of the United States military that transgender people are in it. It's as simple as that. And on that happy note, I hope you have a great weekend. Any weekend plans besides rest and relaxation, Chris Webber?
That's about it.
That's a good weekend.
I love it.
We're going to do that, and we'll be back 3 o'clock Monday. Dan Mandis bright and early, 5 a.m. on Nashville's Morning News. Mark Levin and the Mark Levin Show is up next. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you to your first responders out there. We'll be back on Monday. Until then, so long.